Hello, chat. Good evening. It is Thursday night. Welcome to everybody. It is time for the Thursday night show. Welcome to everybody here. Hope you guys are ready to enjoy yourselves. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and tonight we got a lot to talk about. Some funny stuff, some kind of funny stuff, and then some very serious stuff. But the serious stuff all has some good news into it. So it's a night not to doom, chat. It's a night not to doom. It's a night to it's a night to laugh. I mean, I wouldn't say laugh, but it's not bad. It's not that bad, chat. It's not that bad. So it's not that bad. So I want to say hello to everybody out there. We got people tonight. We are live on Rumble. We are live on Twitter. And we are live here on YouTube. And last but not least, on Locals. And if you guys aren't on Locals yet, potentiallycriminal.locals.com. It's your place to go. Guys, it is everything that Patreon said it was going to be, but never came through on. Locals is a great place. You could sign up for free just like Patreon. You could join the community. Guys, we have people posting stuff up there all the time. I'll comment, post things myself. It's just a very good, very fun place. Costs you nothing to become a member. If you wish to support me, it's $3 a month. You pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. And along with that $3 a month you pay, you get access to the live shows. We do 2 live shows a week. We do a Monday night show and we do a Thursday night show. Both of those shows, guys, we get to talk about all kinds of stuff that we can't talk about here. All the things that don't fit into the shows here. It's generally a very fun time. And there's really no limits on what we can do. Guys, if we have like Mr. Medicars on, we stream snipe him and hang out. Sometimes watch the casino. Sometimes we do all kinds of fun stuff, chat. We do all kinds of fun stuff. But we also just, and I will say this much, guys. Formula One season's almost here. And we watch Formula One races, hang out, watch those. Those are always a fun time, among other things, guys. So join us over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Use the promo code WHIPIT. Not like the Greyhound-like dog, but the thing that's inside a can of whipped cream full of nitrous oxide. Use the promo code WHIPIT, and you get 1 month free access. After that, there's no obligation, and we hope to see you guys there because right after the show, we have the Thursday night show. We get to hang out there and have a lot of fun. So I hope I see you guys there. So real quick, holy Jesus. First of all, as I put in the goal chat, if you guys meet the goal, you know what happens? For every goal that's met, Doge will lay off 10 federal employees. So chat, that's your goal tonight. If we can meet the goal, Elon's watching. He'll just start firing federal employees left and right. So get to work in here. Just saying, that's a great way to look at things. Bibliophile gifted 10 subs. 10 subs. 10. Thank you very much for the support and your generosity and doing your part. Doing your part.
Fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you?
Do your part, chat. Do your part to purge the grays from this chat. Convert them forcefully if necessary. And coming in hot and heavy. I know, Bibliophile, you're coming in with that B1B. Coming in with the bone, dropping some close air support here. But coming in with an Arclight raid. Stephen Cooper with 50 subs. Let's go, chat. Let's go. I mean, this, you want to talk about doing your part, chat. This is doing
Fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
Stephen Cooper's doing his part, chat. Doing his part. Doing his part out there. Whoo boy. Coming in hot and fast. Like Trump executive orders. Let me tell you what. Last night, guys, we talked about this. All the executive orders and all the lawfare going on with those. Guys, the stage is being set for an epic battle over Article 2 of the United States Constitution. And I kind of get the feeling that the courts are going to end up being the ones who create the constitutional crisis as they try to assail and assault the Emperor of Mankind. So just be ready. We talked about that. And that's how that's going to work there, chat. So it's going to be interesting. I know we talked about it last night. I talked to Joe as well about it. But yeah, it's going to be epic. But Stephen Cooper, once again, thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you. But thank you more importantly for your generosity. I mean, 50 people, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. I know whoever gets one of those, I'm sure they're already done now. Is very appreciative for what's going on. Very appreciative for what's going on. Hold on here. Where did I just see it? Missouri Battlefly says, don't they all die or get eaten by large bugs? Well, watch the end of the movie. No, they did. Some of them survive. Some of them survive. Praytime12 says, help Sean, need a serious rental tenant attorney. Message me down below at potentiallycriminal@gmail.com. And if I can help you, I will. If I can direct you somewhere where you need to go or get in touch with someone else, I'll do that. So just get in touch with me. I can see what I can do. See what we can help you with. All right. Should be down below in the description below. Up Dog says, I have my gray card, senor. Not for much longer. Not for much longer. Augusto Pinochet says, I won't put the fries in the bag, Sean. I'm not a green wagey. Not yet. Not yet. You don't get a choice. You don't get a choice. Forcibly transitioning you to green. Augusto Pinochet says, I'll miss you immediate TRO to stop these green card distributions. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if you know it's going to work that way. I don't think it's going to work that way. EDW Rep says the goal was hit before the stream even started. Yes. Yes. John Doe says, I need to serve my dog's neighbor for incessant yapping. Is Clyde available? You have to talk to me about that because you got to pay him his rates. And also, guys, if you are new, I try to apologize. We try to give people about 10 minutes to get in because people don't always get the notifications and people are generally doing more important things like clipping their toenails or just any other thing than hanging out here. So just letting them filter in, just give people a couple of minutes. Give people a couple of minutes. Israel McZionism saying, I need to sit straight one of these days. I've been listening to him and Adam. I don't, I don't think there's like too much going on there. Like that's bad, but, Sitch and Adam are, they're working their way through stuff. I don't think there's anything, I don't think there's anything wrong there or that's been done so far. So, yeah, like I understand, but that's the beauty of it all. We can all have different opinions on stuff. That's the coolness of it, chat. That's the coolness of it all. That is what makes us us. If you didn't know. And hold on here. And then here, hold on, chat. And then, yes. All right. Also, guys, I forgot to mention, if you guys want to join us over on Locals, we have a Locals chat going that anybody can access to. You guys can put all kinds of memes up there that I can't talk about here. But if they happen to be funny, I certainly will notice them. And Demon's Wrath, yes. Oh no, that's yes, that's a very very interesting thing. The roast, Ron, you're hanging out there. Yes, I can't show that cup. That you, yeah, I can't. We can't comment on those things. We can't comment on those things. Oh. Enrico Matassa saying, I unsubscribed from them well before the election. Sitch has massive TDS. I don't think he has TDS ultimately. He's just very skeptical. But I will say, guys, Adam's kind of coming around to stuff. And I mean, overall, they're good guys to listen to. I know some people might not think it's for them, but I like listening to Sitchin Adam. I listen to him frequently. Man, they've been grinding it out hard, man. They've been doing a lot of day streams. Peter Key says the A team reigns supreme. I'm kind of thinking that, the S class might not be the best class anymore. It might be the A team now. And also, guys, their comic book they've been working on, Supervillains Anonymous, is out now. They are shipping it. So if you guys want to see somebody they've been working on it for a long time now, give them a look at that. It's not from what I've seen, it looks to be pretty good, pretty interesting. I like the premise they do. All right, chat. Okay. Corey's saying he absolutely has TDS. Yeah. All right. Adam has been shifting, right? Yeah. Let's see here. What else we got? All right, chat. All right. We are ready to go. And I guess we'll start off with the Steel Toe Subpoena show. And if you guys were not aware, and we'll start off with this. So for those of you new, there is the Nick Rada saga, or the Nick Rada saga, depending on if you like Darkside Phil's enunciation of it. Nick Rada. So guys, you remember Nick ended up getting busted for having cocaine in his house as part of a big raid by the local police. They found an entire ounce of cocaine in his house. They charged him with felony possession. They charged him with misdemeanor possession of having guns while possessing drugs, and also having kids in the same house where you're possessing drugs. So Nick went through his case. As we talked about previously, and you can go through here, I certainly A-logged the quality of the attorney he hired. Wasn't a very good attorney. Didn't do a very good job, and they kind of got the result that everybody expected. Nick got goose-egged. Ultimately, and as I stated from the beginning, Nick was probably eligible for some sort of diversion program. This past month, Nick did enter a plea of guilt to possession of cocaine to a lesser amount than the second-degree felony he was facing. He did it to a third-degree felony amount. His case is currently being determined for its eligibility for a deferred adjudication program. Basically, if he completes programming and things that the court will order to help make sure that he's, not suffering from drug use anymore, and that he's staying clean and sober and in recovery, and they will eventually dismiss the charges. That's set for, I believe, in April. And I joke aside, in April. It's set for April, and that is the presumption that will go forward. There's nothing to indicate that it won't. In exchange for all of that, the charges against Kayla for possessing cocaine and all the other stuff, those got dismissed. And also the charges against April, because remember, April Imholt, she is April Anderson now, but at the time, April Imholt, she was the wife of Aaron Imholt. Aaron had left or been kicked out of the polycule. We don't really know about the whole swinging thing, but at some point, Aaron had to leave. I know Aaron might tell you, I left under my own power. Maybe he got forced out. It doesn't really change the facts of the situation. The police showed up. April was there too. Eventually, she got charged with felony possession as well. And that case moved along. In the meantime, Aaron, is a brilliant Rhodes Scholar that he tends to be, was on one of his live streams talking to a guy named Gino Bisconti. And he pulled up his phone and said, "Hey, bro, check your phone." And Gino pulled his phone up, and appears that there's claims that it is a naked picture of Kayla Rada. Now, you might say, why does Aaron have a naked picture of Nick's wife? Well, they were all kind of doing they were doing shoots and ladders, basically, chat. They were swinging and slipping and sliding and hipping and dipping and doing the naked twister, for better terms, and doing tons of cocaine throughout the late fall and into the winter of 2024, and then into the spring of 2024. So that's what happened there. And then for Aaron got charged with for sending that picture of Kayla Ricada. He got charged with dissemination of, hold on here. So he got charged with this, chat. He got charged with the non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. And he was charged under 2 separate statutes, intentionally and unintentionally. Now, these are both important because the intentional dissemination is a felony. Felonies, remember, chat, felonies are bad. We don't like felonies. We don't like felonies. Felonies are not good. From the attorney standpoint, yes, they're good. I could charge more. But for you, a felony is not good. You don't want the felony. You don't want the felony. But Aaron has the felony currently. He currently has the felony. Why did that zoom in that way? So, what happened from here? Well, Aaron also was charged in the alternative for a second count, non-consensual dissemination of a private sexual image, but as a gross misdemeanor. And this one is alleging that there was a dissemination, but it wasn't done with the intent to harass, harm, or embarrass. So that's a misdemeanor. That means he could face up to a year in jail. Obviously, that's a lot better. Would it be better if you could just go like this and go, dismiss? Sure. But that's not happening. Aaron is stuck with a felony and a misdemeanor. So what do we know happened so far? Well, Gino Biscani and Keanu Thompson both had claimed to seen it in the police reports. They had seen the picture. Pretty simple. You would bring them in and say, what did Aaron send you? And they would say, oh, he sent us a naked picture of Kayla Ricada. Fair enough. And that would be a great way to prove the case. That would be a great way to prove the case. But here's the issue. I was going to say Gianu, and I keep saying that, Gianu. Gino and Keanu live in the New York City area. So for those of you who aren't paying attention, yes, that New York City, the Big Apple. They live there. I think they technically live in New Jersey, but for all intents and purposes, that's in New York City for everybody else. They live in the New York metropolitan area. And even if I'm wrong, it's New Jersey. Who gives a shit? It's New Jersey, really. Just saying. Nobody's ever been like, my town in New Jersey is important. No, it's not. No one cares. So, anyway, they're in New Jersey. Well, typically, you only have subpoena power within your own state. So, for example, I can serve as an attorney, and I'm sure most states' attorneys could do this. Attorneys could serve subpoenas on people. And the power of that is throughout the state of Ohio. I can serve people anywhere in the state of Ohio. Process servers could do that too. But when you're doing somebody's out of state, well, the court's jurisdiction ends at the state line. It doesn't continue with the subpoena. So there are times, and it's frequent in civil cases, especially in lawsuits, where you have parties that are out of state or maybe out of, not even necessarily in the state, but they're in a different federal district or a different federal circuit. They're all over the place. So states have interstate compacts that allow you to serve parties. And the way it typically works is you try to get a subpoena where you are, and you say, Judge, we tried to serve them. They're not here. They're not available. We believe that they're in X county. Can we please have permission to go file this and do it? And pursuant to the procedures laid out in the law, you then go take care of that subpoena and you put it there and you bring it there. You introduce it to the court there and say, Your Honor, we come from the land of Minnesota, New Jersey judge, and we're asking you to enforce a subpoena on Gino Biscani and Keanu Thompson. And that's how the process works. This is a process also for criminal cases. Now, I will say I've never had to deal with this when I worked as a prosecutor. And I've worked in two areas. I worked in one area right on a state line, and my experience as a defense attorney on a different state border here in Ohio generally wasn't an issue. People showed up, they didn't show up. Unless it was something serious like a murder, nobody gave a shit. But for this case, we're learning Stearns County, Minnesota, where Aaron is currently charged, will go all out, as Ethan Ralph found out, and we all found out. They put a warrant out for Ethan Ralph for contempt nationwide, which is like bonkers. But they do it. They do it. And it was really, I think we all were surprised at that. But what did we see in the meantime? Well, in the meantime, the district attorney, or the county attorney for Stearns County, they filed documents. And these are documents pulled off of Aaron's case here. And this is an affidavit. It's an affidavit by one of the county attorneys. And this is an affidavit to compel the Well, that was brilliant. To compel the attendance of Gino Biscani as a witness. Eugene Thomas Biscani. That's obviously Gino. There you go. It's Eugene. As a witness in a criminal prosecution. And now the assistant prosecutor, Carrie Dolan, comes up and she swears as her own statements here that the state of Minnesota, by the adoption of Minnesota Statute 634.06, 2634.09, has made provisions by its laws for commanding persons within the state to attend and testify in criminal actions pending in other states. They also point out that the state of New York, because that's where apparently, I guess they lived there. I thought they lived in New Jersey, but I keep hearing that, but it says New York here, so I'm assuming that's correct. But the adoption, and if I said New Jersey earlier, still, nobody gives a shit. It's New York, too. By the adoption of McKinney's criminal procedure law, 640.10, made provisions by its law for commanding persons within the state of New York to attend and testify criminal actions, which have commenced or are about to commence in the state of Minnesota. Now, this doesn't mean the law is meant for they do one for each state. It's to acknowledge out-of-state subpoenas will be honored, and that's how you honor them. So they're talking about, in this case, a jury trial, and it's the state of Minnesota versus Aaron Michael Imholt. And they say which case, and they talk about Aaron's charges. He's got 2 counts of non-consensual dissemination. I almost said non-consensual miscegenation. It's like, that's not correct. That's not correct. But this trial is set to begin May 13th at the Stearns County Courthouse in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And they point out that Gino Biscani is a material witness in the trial to the state of Minnesota. And he is, because he's the guy that Aaron disseminated the image to. Now, Gino's not in trouble, but he's going to be able to say, yes, Aaron sent me a picture, and it was a picture of Kayla, and she was naked. So, yes, he is very critical to the case because he is the proof that this actually happened. Because there is no image that it doesn't appear to be on the phones. And if there was, they wouldn't necessarily need Gino at that point. If they could show that Aaron had sent it or however he did it, but it doesn't appear that was done. They talk about it, though. Biscani is a witness to the charges of non-consensual dissemination of private sexual images. And they were committed in the city of St. Cloud in the county of Stearns. And they say that Gino will be required to be present at said trial beginning on May 13th at 8:30 a.m. And they said the office will undertake to assure that all reasonable expenses of Gino associated with his testifying at trial will be promptly reimbursed, because that's an issue for Gino. You know, where New York City is 19 hours away and over 1,200 miles from St. Cloud, Minnesota. And it's one thing that if you live in town, you're in the next county over, and you get a subpoena and you have to show up and you're to court order. Yeah, you got to suffer. You're going to have to suffer on that one. But to make a guy drive there, rent a hotel and be there, or fly there, yeah, that's going to be on the state to reimburse. You're dragging this person halfway across the country. Yes, it should be your obligation to take care of that. Now, this idea that it'll be promptly reimbursed, I'm sure just as government reimbursement goes, they're going to nickel and dime him and jerk him around on that. I'm sure they're not just going to cut him a check. I'm sure that's not going to work the way they are. Now, I understand you guys are making jokes about whether or not you can afford it. That's not the point. That's not the point. If it was any of you, you should have the right to be compensated for that because the state's giving you this problem. And they say that the laws of Minnesota and any other state through which Gino may travel may be required to pass by ordinary course of travel will give him protection from arrest in the service of civil and criminal process. So, and that's an important thing, guys. And this thing here is an idea that, let's say you subpoena a witness, and that witness has a warrant out for their arrest. if they have a subpoena, they should not be arrested because they're responding to a court order. We want people to respond to court orders. We want people to comply with court orders. We want people to show up when subpoenaed. Well, if somebody has a warrant and you subpoena them, if they show up, they're going to get arrested. Very commonly, people will be subpoenaed and then they're not going to be arrested. They show up to court and they get to leave because we want people to show up. So that's why they talk about this. Because let's say Gino hypothetically had a warrant out of the state of Illinois. Now, Gino could avoid it by driving up across through New York into Pennsylvania, into Ohio, go up through Michigan and around. He could do that. Or he could drive south around Illinois. Or he could just take the chance and risk it and drive through Illinois. Or he could fly and hope there's not a forced landing or a forced divert at like O'Hare Airport. If any of that were to happen and he had a warrant, he could say, look, I'm under court order. Therefore, you guys can't arrest me. And that's how it should work. And this is the affidavit, and this is signed by the assistant attorney. So that is done. And that's not the only thing they have here. What else they do is they do a couple other things in this to show what's going on and what else happens. Now, they address this, and they will now go for it. Which dang it, I just lost my track of the documents here. Sorry, chat. Now, the same thing was filled out for Keanu, because Keanu is a witness as well. So we're not going to look at that one because it's literally the same thing, and they're going to demand that she show up too. But she is being asked to be there. And part of this then turns into a certificate gets filed, and this is from the judge themselves. And this is the judge doing their part. And remember, this is all stuff they have to do to present to the county they're going to show, judge, you need to issue the subpoena for Gino and Keanu. Judge, and this is judge saying, my name's Heidi Schultz. I'm a judge in Minnesota. And we talk about all the same statutes again. We talk about the New York statute. We're talking about Aaron's case again. It's May 13th. We talk about Gino Biscani as a material witness. We talk about Minnesota law providing that he will be promptly reimbursed and that he's asked to, once again, pass by ordinary course of travel, protection from arrest in the service of civil and or criminal process. And more importantly, now you're getting to the point of the affidavit from the assistant attorney is now incorporated. And this judge is now saying it is requested that Gino be directed to attend and testify as a witness. And this is one where the judge now signs it. And the judge is now getting involved. And from here, there is the administrator of the court. So not the judge himself, but he's an administrator there. He does certify that this judge was at the time of the signing of the certificate an actual judge in Minnesota, duly elected and qualified, and that the court is the court of record in Minnesota. You're now seeing the formal paperwork requirements coming in. The judge is now saying, listen, judge whoever in New York or New Jersey, listen, I'm a real judge. This is a real case. Other people are certifying that. This is the process you have to accomplish here. We'll get to, some of you guys are asking some interesting questions, and we'll get to those in a second. We'll get to those. So what happens from here? Well, and this is oh, that's why I opened up the same document twice. That's why I couldn't figure out where we were. Okay. And that's done. That's done. That's done. Oh, that's why, chat. I'm missing something here. They have now sent these out. They have now sent these documents out. There is the next step is that these get enforced. Okay. And along with this, you get the petition from the prosecutor who's asking for a petition for a subpoena. And they're asking for this court that they're going to go to and that's going to get filed in, please serve the subpoena for us and please order one out. And once again, they talk about the state of New York. They talk about going through everything there. This one's for Keanu, but it's Keanu and Gino. They each get one. And they talk about all the petitioning requests here. So therefore, they hereby petition the district court to issue the certificate requesting this subpoena. And then it's going to get filed. And then it's going to get served out of state. And then it becomes an issue for Gino and Keanu about what they do. Now, it's going to get served on them. They're going to get a subpoena served on them. It's a court order. And they could be held in contempt for that if they don't show up. Could the prosecutor ask for a material witness warrant? Sure. And that's a warrant where the police would apprehend them and they would be brought forcibly to Stearns County. We saw that in the YSL trial. Somebody was held in custody because there was a question of whether or not they were going to testify, and they were deemed a material witness. And once they testified, the warrant was removed and they were allowed to go. They do happen. Now, would it happen here? I don't know. What I would tell people is you should generally, I would tell people you should abide by court orders. Just as a matter of course, you can't defy court orders. I can't tell you to do that. Now, what's going to happen here? Well, we've already seen Stearns County went after Ethan Ralph. They went after him. They put out a nationwide warrant for a contempt of court issue. The idea is, I could just not show up and they won't do shit to me. I don't know if you really want to try them. I could see them putting one out for you. There. That is not the smartest answer at this point. That is not the smartest thing there. So I don't know if they should try that. I would not recommend it. If they do fuck around, they might find out. Also, it might turn out the prosecutor might go, you know what? Fuck it. It's not worth it. But are you willing to risk getting arrested over that? That's the question you need to ask yourself if you're out there, if you were in their shoes. I would never recommend wanting to find out because let's say you're right. Great. But if you're wrong, your ass is getting hauled around. And yes, this would be hilarious in the context of this entire comedy that people were defying the subpoenas and were getting hauled in basically in handcuffs. Now, I don't want to see people get arrested, but yes, it would be kind of funny given just the way this whole thing has unfolded with Nick and Gino and Aaron and Keanu. It would be pretty fucking funny. But like I said, I don't want to see that happen. Now, could Gino and Keanu fight this? Sure, they have every right to quash a subpoena. And I could see them trying it. Based on what's been here so far and from what I've looked into, the court in New York's probably going to be like, yeah, you're going to have to go. But we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. Michael says Gino should get Ralph to relative to the judge. Yeah. So, could Minnesota force extradition if they decide not to testify? Well, that's what I mean. They could put out a warrant for them, and the court could issue contempt. There could be a material witness warrant. The court could issue a contempt order. It could do a lot of there's a lot of different mechanisms available. And we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Nico says, is this for a 2-day trial? It's not for a 2-day trial, really. It's for somebody's naked pictures being shared around. And that's the thing here. This isn't a murder. This isn't, a guy getting caught with a kilo of coke. It's a bunch of degenerates, fucking and sucking and flaunting everything and then getting really butthurt over Aaron. I mean, because that's really what this all comes from. We all know it does. This is Nick being really mad at Aaron, whether or not they're gay lovers or whatever it is between the two of them, because how can you be lovers if you really can't be friends? Who knows really what the problem is? But that's where this all comes down. This is Nick and Aaron. It's Nick and Aaron. It's Nick and Aaron all day. It's Brokeback Baldo. But yes, this is a bit much. I mean, if I was if I was prosecuting this, there are far better uses of judicial resources and economy than prosecuting this like this. Here's a misdemeanor, hit the bricks. Makes a lot more sense. Makes a lot more sense there. Robert says the court can make someone pay a lot of money in order to travel to court. Ridiculous. Well, they said that you will be reimbursed. Now, do I think it's, Gino and Keanu should have the right to say, no, 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 you're paying for our travel? Well, then you know what the prosecutor is? Fine, I'm booking you on Spirit. Here you go. You're sitting in the back. The same way, like, they wouldn't want to do that. But also, if Gino and Keanu say, like, oh, okay, well, we're flying, like, JetBlue first class all the way there, the court's, the prosecutor's office is going to be like, we're not paying for all that. Or they're like, we're going to stay at the Four Seasons in Minneapolis. Or, I don't know. Do they have Four Seasons in Minneapolis? I don't really know. So, it could though, chat. But Michelle's asking, how does this work? Well, it's because states have entered into agreements as far as how you do out-of-state subpoenas for parties. They've reached compacts that work like this. For civil cases, it's actually the uniform. Hold on, what is it called? The UUDI. Yeah, hold on. Okay. Yeah. The Uniform Interstate Depositions and Discovery Acts. I mean, there are ways to do this. States have made agreements because the states want to help each other because eventually they're going to need people from that state to get involved. That's why they're doing this. And notice it's not like a criminal extradition where states do that willy-nilly and it's not really a big deal. This is a little more involved because there's interstate compacts in this regard. As far as extradition is concerned, you run into issues of, full faith and credit. You're honoring, things from other states. And the idea is that if you do for them, they do for you. So, but this is an entirely different context than an extradition. So I hope that makes some sense there. Let's see here. Bella's saying his defense lawyer could drag both of them through the ringer. The way they both keep changing their story sides and underwear. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's like I said, there's some things I think Aaron can argue. There's some things he's going to have a tough time with. Do I think at the very least he's probably going to get like the misdemeanor out of this? Yeah, I think that's probably the most realistic outcome here. I don't know why they didn't offer that to him and just be done, but who knows what's going on? As Aaron has said, oh, they're still working on more, and I don't know. Maybe they're working with USA Boxing to get his license reinstated. I don't know. Who knows at this point? J-Rock says, if this goes to a New York court with a big enough caseload, they might not get to a hearing in time. That's a concern. Although you'd like to think the court would realize this is a bit of an emergency issue and would kind of fast track stuff. But yeah, that could be a problem. Although you would think because they've already, and this is part of what you have to do when you're a prosecutor, you have to plan ahead. They notice they didn't wait till like April to get this done. It's 3 months away and they're already getting the paperwork filed. They're getting it where it needs to go to make sure things can get addressed. Because if you try to wait till the last minute, that's when shit falls apart, especially as a prosecution. You have to be ready to go. You have to have things prepped and working in that regard. Brad is saying, does it have to be in person? Yes. And I would not, there are, depending on your states, there is, especially now COVID's, we're definitely out of the COVID woods. Letting people, there's the idea you have the right to confront your accusers. You have the right to confront witnesses, and confronting them in person is far more effective than if you're confronting them on a screen. It's a completely different vibe, among other things. So yes, having witnesses appear in person is very important. Now, there are times where you could probably get away with it if it's not a critical witness, but it's a witness that kind of fleshes out some basic information. Sure, you might be able to get away with that. But Gino and Keanu are critical witnesses that, yes, you should have them there. If you can't have them there, I'd argue that's a massive confrontation problem. Sunshine says more trash entering Minnesota. Well, oh. What about Zoom? That's my point. Like, Zoom wouldn't work in this regard, and I wouldn't want Zoom. I would not want to do that. If I was in this situation, I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to be asking for that either. I'd want them to be there, because and I think there's an issue. I think in Minnesota itself that they disfavor that, or almost pretty much deny the use of that at this point. So Zoom might not be an option at all. Justin says, if you wait until the last minute, you only have to stress for a minute. Well, yes, that is a very good point. I don't know if I'd recommend that. I don't know if I'd recommend that. Alt Companion says they're going to fly him all the way there to say, yeah, I got to pick us some tits. Yeah, pretty much. That's what he's there to say. Who sent it to me? Aaron. And did it happen while you were on the show? Yes. Does it seem like it's a correct and accurate recording of what happened? Yes. I mean, yeah, to prove the case, they will. To prove the case, they will. Now, do I agree that, yes, if the people of Stearns County find out the state's willing to spend this kind of money and this time and effort on it, does that look good to them? It depends. I think a lot of people might say, what the fuck are we doing? But they decided to do it, so they must think it's worth it. Die Freighter Watcher will saying, will Kayla have to testify? Presumably so, because she's going to have to say, I never gave permission for Aaron to disseminate that to Gino. She'll be able to say, I gave it to Aaron, but I didn't give him permission to send it out, because it's her image. So yes, she's going to be the one that has to testify, because it's her image. She's going to be saying, yeah, I gave it to Aaron, but I didn't want him to give it to anybody else. Mean Copium says, how you doing, buddy? Saying those Citizen Kane titties. Rosebud. Oh, geez, you guys. Shades Cal says affidavits. Yes, they filed affidavits to get the subpoenas showing that we have a factual issue here. These witnesses are not in the state of Minnesota. They are apparently in New York. Like I said, I thought it was New Jersey, but who really gives a crap for our sake of discussion here? And they want a judge in New York to enforce these orders on them. So, Tony Gunk says, what if they say it wasn't a picture of Kayla? They're going to say, okay, officer, because they're definitely going to have the detectives come in, and the detectives are going to say, hey, did you talk to Gino? Yeah. And they're going to probably save that detective for the end and say, okay, you heard Gino testify, right? You heard Keanu testify, right? What did they tell you at the time? Did they tell you something different than what they just said? Yes. What did they tell you? And they're going to say, yeah, they told me that was Kayla. They're going to be able to show that that's not true. Those statements aren't true. Now, like I said, is a jury going to sit there and say, why the fuck are we here? Sure, that could happen. But a jury also might say, fuck this guy for what he did. Aaron's going to have to make that calculus on what do they think the jury's going to do. Keanu said Aaron took the picture today. Okay, well. Also, Keanu has also said, I'm not showing up. I don't care what you send, which is not the smartest ploy when you're knowing court orders are coming your way saying, I'm not going to fucking comply. If you're the Trump administration, yes, that's a very fine tactic. But when you're Keanu Thompson, that's not a smart idea. You're just setting the stage for the court and the prosecutor's office trying to fuck you over. So, Keanu, if you're listening to this, just shut the fuck up about the case, just for your own sake. You're not helping yourself. Regardless of whether or not you want to help Aaron or Nick or April or Kayla or whoever the hell you want to help, just shut up. You guys are not helping yourself right now. That's my free advice to you there. J-Rock is saying, serious question. I'm not up in this law. What if Aaron is the one who took the photo with her consent? That's not even then. Him taking the picture isn't the problem. It's him disseminating the picture. If they took the nudes, like if Aaron took nudes of Kayla and she let him do that, that's not the problem. It's him then going to that third party becomes the unlawful dissemination. So she would be able to, and, you know, there might make the argument to say in our little, you know, fucking suck group and Signal, which they were using, we all agreed that it was going to be between us. Well, guess what? Now you've got Nick coming in and he'll go, Your Honor, it was all between us. And you'll have April come in and say, yes, Your Honor, it was all between us, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And you'll have Kayla say it was all between us. And then you're gonna have Aaron over there going, that's not true. You know, then the jury's got to figure out which one of these idiots do we trust? So that's the issue for Aaron, is not taking the picture. Kayla could send it, Aaron could have taken it. That's not the problem. It's what Aaron did with it is the question of, did he do it and did he have permission to do it? Was there explicit consent or is there implied consent through their actions? That's the argument Aaron's going to have to make. SB Seller says, how do they prove it was Kayla and not an AI? Well, I mean, as far as we know, I don't know if there was ever actually an image recovered. It doesn't sound like there was. But they'll be able to say that Gino said, yeah, it looked real to me. And they'll be able to say, did it look like it was altered? Just like the nonsense with the watermark on Nick's case. Was there anything to indicate the picture was altered? And Gino and Keanu are going to have to say, no. Looks like it was real. Also, why would Aaron be so proud? Your boy didn't do too bad, did he? Over a deep fake. Like that then becomes, you see? And I don't know in Minnesota if there's any law on, does the deep fake count? If you're intending and you're trying to pass it off as a real image, does it count as a real image? That might be something under Minnesota law too. I don't, there's some things we can speculate on, but then there's stuff that's going to be outside of what we know at this point. And that's one of those questions. Passing it off, you know, does that count? But Aaron seemed to be very proud of it. So if it was fake, that would be kind of goofy. Aaron will get a slap on the wrist deal. Very likely, but I don't know, man. Apparently Aaron's keeping it 10 toes down. He's playing a game of chicken, so we'll see what happened. Sleazy is saying that Gino apparently has made the claim. We said that because we wanted more views on the channel because of the drama going on. Yeah, going into court saying, oh, it was all a work. It's all a joke. You people don't appreciate comedy. Good luck with that one. Remember, you're going to go into a jury and like that jury's going to look at you and say, bull fucking shit. Ain't nobody fucking believing that. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, guys. There's no way you go into a jury and the jury's going to be like, oh, yes, that must be true. This all just must be a work. I too appreciate comedy. You know, that Melted chap is funny. This Nick Rada chap is funny. This Gino and Aaron, this Dabbleverse is the top of the pops. You know, true premium comedic content. That, hold on here. Hold on here. That's interesting. Different thing, guys. Different thing. But thank you for who sent that to me. Yeah, I don't think that argument's going to work. The jury's going to be like, bullshit. Nobody's going to fucking believe that. Nobody's going to believe that. You know, going into court, just going herp, we're big old retards. Juries don't, that's not always good enough for a jury. It's not always good enough for a jury. Has the picture made it on the farms yet? No, it is not. What if there was a watermark? Trump one saying, I thought whoever took the picture owns it. Okay, you might own copyright, but copyright is not a defense to criminal conduct, guys. That's not how this works. You don't get to go, my copyright, my watermarks. It's my picture. No, it's a naked picture of someone. You're not allowed to just send it around. The copyright is not an effective defense. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You took the picture, you may own it, but you had someone's consent to generate that image. And the state in the state of Minnesota said you need their further consent to disseminate that image. So your copyright doesn't mean dick at that point. So so somebody just asked a question here and I just saw it. Trevor says, how could she give it to him and not become his? Okay. Think about it like this. I let you borrow my car. You can't go. So you borrow. So actually, we'll use people. So I let Nick Rada borrow my car. Nick can't then turn around and let Aaron borrow it. I didn't give Aaron permission to borrow my car. I didn't give Nick permission to let somebody else borrow my car. I gave permission for Nick to use the car. Just the same way like when you rent a car. I rent a car. I can't then turn around and give the keys to Meme Copium. He's not authorized to do it. And Josh can't then just drive it around. It's not his car. So that's the issue, guys. It's the issue of consent and permission. It's not an issue of ownership of the image. It's about the consent involved in that image that you guys need to think about here. So memes being savage tonight. AI would generate a less busted woman. Jesus. Yeah, I know Nick said that, but Nick says a lot of nasty shit. So there you go. We're just gonna leave that alone. Oh, Sleazy saying Gino never said that, to be clear. Oh, okay. Well, if Gino never said that, I mean, well, like why are like, please clarify that Gino could say that. But no, like that still wouldn't fucking work. That it just wouldn't work at all. It wouldn't work at all. Let's see here. No trademarking boobies. No. Brimstone saying, can I send a photo of somebody clothed without consent? Well, yeah, because that's, like we're talking about of a private sexual image. You standing on a street corner wearing a jacket and sweatpants is not a private sexual image. Like we're not flying space shuttle here, guys. It's only about a private sexual image. And it's clear what would be a sexual image. So that's where we're going here. Yes. Cloth off. Yes. Showing bobs and vagina. Yes. When you guys are talking, there's some nice cat pictures in locals. Aw, nice little kitty. Let's see here. Fractal Failure says an expensive airline is Emirates. Yeah, but I don't think Emirates does it well for the Somali population. Yes, there might be a direct service to Minneapolis, but I don't think you can go hop on an Emirates flight from LaGuardia to fucking Minneapolis. There's not an A380 flying along where you hop in and get a shower and all that stuff and have like the big lounging compartments for like the lounging seat for $20,000. I'm just saying, like that's the thing. Oh. So, yeah. So other than that, chat, that's kind of the update there. That's kind of the update. Because I know people were there. Sleazy is saying, does Aaron have a defense? Well, that's his last question. Does Aaron have a defense that she was sharing pics in locals? It's not the same pics. Those pics were not nudes. I mean, we all seen it. It's not like we have much to wonder about. Certainly, that would be an argument that Aaron and his attorney can make. And I've already pointed out before, it's not the strongest argument because that was already a preceding point in time, like almost a year and a half prior, with like the bottle pictures and all that stuff. Now, there are some things that might be able to be done. So, like, for example, the hot tub stream where they're all sitting there and everybody knows what's going on and they tried to play all cute and coy about it. Yeah, that could be used as evidence of you never meant for this to be like that. You were trying to be exhibitionist. Maybe. Is it going to help? Sure. Is it going to be a nail in the coffin? No. But you got to work with what you have. So they have things that will help, but there's no mic drop moment here for Aaron as far as the evidence is out there, unless there's something I don't have. Remember, chat, we have not seen all the evidence. We have parts of it, but we don't have all of it. So, Kimmel says, I received a message that Nick is reviewing my application for the cover. Well, if you really want to go in there, that's all on you, brother. That's all on you. Oh. On a wall says, how about Camelot saying Nick Rada would get fucked up and start sending pics out? Yeah, but that's now you've got to get Camelot. His testimony. Now you got to get him in a court. How are you going to do that? Are you going to try the same thing? Because if you just ask Camelot to show up and get a subpoena and show up and they'd slap him with one as soon as he gets there, I mean, it's not going to do that. So you're going to have to go get Camelot. You know, that's going to be the option there. But then again, it also becomes, is Camelot going to come into court and do the thing that they said, you know, proposing the theory for Gino and just go, herp, burp, burp, I'm just a big idiot. You know, would that work? Would a jury believe it? So that's how you have to look at this, guys. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. Where is... Did I just miss it? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing you guys have to look at here. There are a lot of things in play. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. We're a ways away now. You know, we got 3 months. There's a lot can happen in 90 days. A lot can happen in 90 days. So we're just going to leave that be for now. We're going to leave that be for now. Now, moving on to another issue, and it's kind of tangentially related. It kind of works. Is the idea, oh, Third World Aristocrats here? Oh, cool. Thanks. Guys, if you've seen Third World Aristocrat, he does a lot of good videos out there, doing a lot of nice little clips. Take a look at those. Give him a subscribe. Show him some love out there. But moving on to another issue, and this is out of the state of Louisiana. So in Louisiana, there is a case pending where the state of Louisiana is seeking extradition of a doctor in the state of New York. And what's actually happening? Well, it's an interesting story. So first of all, we're going to start off with this extradition warrant. And these actually, they exist. Governors will request from other states people who are fugitives from justice. You know, in Ohio, for example, like up on the northern border with Michigan. In Toledo, that was a common thing because people would commit a crime in Toledo and run up to Michigan. You know, for example, over here on the eastern border with Pennsylvania, on the southern border with Kentucky. It's common in many states, people will flee. But in this situation here, we have a different thing. This is an extradition request. The governor is seeking help from another governor. And this is, you guys see all this, you know, His Excellency and all this. This is formal governmental documents. This is what they do. So His Excellency, the governor of the state of New York, from His Excellency to the governor of the state of New York. So that's Kathy Hochul. Joe's favorite governor, Kathy Hochul. He is trying to get her attention here. And why is that not working? You know what? Hold on, chat. We're going to fix this because that is not working right, and I don't want to fight it anymore. But it's not going to do what it needs to do. So we're just going to do it this way because it makes more sense. And I didn't know why I did do that earlier. So he is seeking extradition. He says they are seeking upon application for requisition a prosecutor's affidavit with probable cause order. And he's just going through all the stuff they have now. And that got listed. The application for requisition, the prosecutor's affidavit. So just like what happened in Minnesota, you file saying, Your Honor, we need this. We're supplying an affidavit. There's a probable cause order. There's a certification of the indictment. There's an arrest warrant affidavit. There's identification materials and also the relevant statute. They are asking for the arrest of a doctor in New York, Margaret Carpenter, for the charge of criminal abortion by means of abortion-inducing drugs. And they said that it's been represented to the governor of Louisiana that she was president in the state at the time of the commission of said crime. Now, we'll get to, she didn't come to Louisiana, but we'll get how they established that in a second. And she fled from the jurisdiction of Louisiana and took refuge. And where can she be found? Well, she can be found somewhere in the state of New York, and they blacked out her address because they're not going to dox her. They're not trying to be a dox. And they said that they want her under pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution and laws of the United States and the laws of the state of Louisiana and the laws of the state of New York. He says, I respectfully demand the above named fugitive be arrested and secured and delivered to the West Baton Rouge Sheriff or their duly authorized female agents of the parish of West Baton Rouge in the state of Louisiana. And they're asking that she be returned. And it was done this day on the 11th day of February, 2025 by Jeff Landry, the governor, and certified by the Secretary of State, Nancy Landry. I think they're cousins or something, which weird, but okay. Okay. So why are they seeking out this doctor? Well, so here's what happened. Chat. This doctor is a doctor who, and this is where we'll learn about it here. She prescribed abortion medications to a girl, to a woman in Louisiana, and she did it over the internet. So basically telehealth. That's common nowadays. I'm sure you guys, and since COVID especially, you set up an appointment. Like I could do that on my phone. You open up the Cleveland Clinic app. You can set it up. I want to meet a doctor today. Can they do it? And you get in, boom, 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 boom. You're in and out, and they can write you a script. And then you go pick it up. And you don't have to go to the doctor's office. Kind of neat. Kind of a neat thing. Well, that was done in this situation. She prescribed an abortion medication, and the woman used it. And the state of Louisiana is seeking her extradition. She was indicted by a Louisiana grand jury for prescribing abortion pills to a pregnant minor in Louisiana. So they issued the indictment for Dr. Margaret Carpenter and through her company, Nightingale Medical, and the minor's mother. All three were charged with the criminal abortion by means of abortion-inducing drugs as a felony. The mom has not been identified, and that's something that's out there because they don't want to dox the kid who is pregnant. Okay. But the mom did turn herself in to the authorities. But now we're dealing with the issue of what do you do with this? Now, this is the first time this has happened that we know of, okay? And this is a doctor who sent the pills to another state. Now, we do have times where this has happened before where other states will sue or prosecute or push after somebody, and that does happen. You'll see states this frequently suing like gun companies for sending stuff in and out of states or for other banned or prohibited items. So this isn't really that new of a thing. It's just for this specific topic. Now, they sought this. Now, they are saying, we expect the doctor to come to Louisiana and answer these charges. Now, the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, has said, I will never, under any circumstances, turn this doctor over to the state of Louisiana. Now, this is a thing, and you might say, well, she can't do that. And I saw this happen before. And I will use an example. When I was an intern in the prosecutor's office in Toledo, in the Lucas County prosecutor's office at one point. And there was a guy who had committed murder in Toledo. And it was, they were potentially seeking the death penalty against him because Ohio has the death penalty still. He fled to Michigan and he was up in Detroit and he got caught. Michigan does not have the death penalty. Michigan has never had the death penalty. Michigan's the only state to never have the death penalty. Michigan only had a death penalty when it was a federal territory. When they became a state, they immediately they chartered their constitution. There would be no capital punishment. The governor at that point in Michigan was like, I don't want to send him back if you guys are going to kill him. I'm against the death penalty. I don't think that's right. We're not going to turn him over. And this is actually a thing that happens in international extradition too. People who might be facing the death penalty here in America. Well, we're not, countries won't turn him over because, well, we don't want you to kill this guy. And it's a possibility you might kill him. So that is a thing that does happen. For people who were accused of terrorism and other terrorism-related offenses. Countries have been refusing to turn them over because they're like, we don't want you to take them to Guantanamo and torture the shit out of them. So states, even though you might have an extradition treaty, other countries might have an extradition treaty, given the punishment you may face, they may refuse to do it for a while because they have that concern. We don't support the death penalty. We can't help you do it. So, that's the rub here. And let's say this doesn't work out that way. And this doctor just keeps doing her thing. She will have a warrant out for her arrest, though. Just like if you're in any other state, for example, if you commit a felony here in Ohio, they'll put out a nationwide warrant for you. Okay. So you sit there, you get your thing going, you deal with it. And at some point, you'll get caught. And like she goes on vacation somewhere, she won't be able to do that. She tries to get on a plane, she'll get pinged for it. She's driving down, let's say she's driving through Pennsylvania. She lives in New York. She'll be kind of stuck in New York. She'll be pretty much stuck in New York, it sounds like. And she'll be basically a prisoner in her state. Because if she goes to another state and they stop her, they're like, oh, she's driving in Pennsylvania. They'll pull over. Oh, you got a felony warrant, ma'am. Get out of the car. So that's going to be an interesting issue for how do we resolve this? How do we resolve it? Yamal saying, is there any way for this ability to hurt her practice? You would think that the New York Medical Board would say, if you have a felony like this, your license is suspended. But I'm sure the New York State licensing authorities are like, you go, girl, power, solidarity, abort all the babies. That's probably what's going to happen there. They're not going to get involved because remember, the governor is saying, we're not doing this. We're not complying. So I'm sure that the medical board has been told, you're not going to comply either. And God help me if you fuck with this woman. I'm sure that's what's happened there. So some of you are wondering, is this going to work? It's like, no, she's going to be allowed to do what she does. Sandy's saying, so you can arrest warrant be put out and she goes to Florida. You just read my mind. Yeah. Right now, the state of Louisiana has a warrant out for her arrest. Shelley is saying national physician licensing would solve a lot of issues, including bad docs evading and going to practice in different states. Yeah, but I don't want national licensure like that. It's a state issue. It's federalism. I don't like nationwide CCW, like concealed handgun licenses either. This needs to be sorted out with the courts, and there needs to be full faith and credit. I don't want nationwide things I don't need the federal government involved like that. I don't want them involved like that. So this is only going to get worse as this saga unfolds. So we don't know ultimately where this leads. We don't know where this leads right now. But Governor Hochul has said, I am not going to comply. And she stated today she refuses to do it. And she said, I will not sign this order. Not now, not ever. Which now it becomes an issue. Now it becomes an issue with the state of Louisiana. How does this get sorted out? Now, and this is Dr. Carpenter here. So, and it's obvious you can probably tell she's also not a fan of the Orange Man if we had to guess. And she said it's not just because Governor Hochul likes abortion, but she does have a reason she's citing in the law that in New York, they have laws that shield abortion providers. And that becomes the thing. she's being prosecuted for something that's legal in her state, but illegal in Louisiana. And it's not exactly the same, chat, but think about it in the terms of where the head of the London Metropolitan Police was trying to say, if you do hate speech online, Americans, we'll come have you fucking extradited. And you're like, no, you ain't gonna fucking do that. For the people of New York, they're gonna say, look, this is legal in our state. Yeah, she did it over the internet, but does that really establish her presence in Louisiana? Now, it does, because if you make threats over the phone to someone in Louisiana, that would be valid and that establishes the jurisdiction of it. But the state of New York is arguing, no, it does not. This goes against our principles that we hold in this state because they're a bunch of communists. So this is Governor Hochul holding it up saying, I ain't going to sign it. I mean, look at that woman. Oof. Yeah. Anyway, that is where we are. And Anderson Cooper brings up a great question here. I'd say she can get away with it if the patient went to New York, but this shouldn't fly. And I agree. If the people had left the state, then Louisiana has no more jurisdiction over it. But the idea that merely doing it online doesn't establish jurisdiction. If you called in a bomb threat somewhere in Louisiana, it doesn't matter where you are. You can be hauled into a Louisiana court and nobody would bat an eye about the jurisdictional issue. So, like I said, guys, this is very interesting in how this is going to work out and what's going to happen here. So, Carpenter's also the target of a lawsuit in Texas. The state of Texas sought a court order barring her from sending medication to Texas residents. So she's had this issue. Other states are getting notice of her and they are taking notice of what they're going to do. So it will be very interesting to see what happens. And yes, this is also an interesting thing in here. I thought this article was very good because it does show Dr. Carpenter. She is it doesn't hurt in this situation. She was there as Kathy Hochul signed legal protections for abortion providers. So she's politically connected as well. So it's not just the fact that she's involved in something and there's laws that protect her. She likely carries some sort of favor in the governor's office. And it doesn't hurt that the governor is, a true believer in what they're doing here. So that is, what's happening there. X says, look at all those baby killers standing next to each other. Well, yeah. Shane Chase is saying, I thought part of the problem was the doctor prescribed the pills without consulting the minor, or was that just the rumor? No, she did a telehealth thing. She consulted. She consulted online. The issue is you can't provide these drugs in the state of Louisiana. You can't use them. That's the issue. She wasn't allowed to do it, period. So they went after it because the governor's focusing on the innocent loss of life here. And yeah, the baby that got murdered. So that's where they're at with this. This is going to be an interesting thing. There's going to be showdowns over this. We're getting to the point there are going to be a lot of legal showdowns. So the issue with the mom and why did she get involved? That basically the minor's claiming, and this is the part of the prosecution's theory, is mom threatened to kick her daughter out if she didn't take the pills to have the abortion. That's part of what there is. And they said after taking it, she called 911 and said, like, oh my God, please help me. And this happened. So that's where this whole case, it's very weird about how this happened. Okay. It sounds like mom forced the daughter to have the abortion, which at that point you're like, well, why, the mom did something here. Well, why isn't the mom doing it? That's a separate thing, but we're not there yet. So we're gonna have to put a pin in this one. We're going to have to put a pin in it and see what happens. So it is a very interesting case. Yes. The mom got the medication out there. You know what, Jim? You're right. Hold on. Let me double check here. Yes, she went ahead and got it. Yes. But even then in Louisiana, you're not allowed to give it. You're not allowed to prescribe it. And she did that. So, and she knew it was in Louisiana. So, yeah. Deanna's saying, what a poor girl. What type of mother does that? Yeah. Yeah. Shelly's saying she'll lose her license at a minimum. I don't know. Like I said, I don't see the New York State Medical Board fucking her over. Especially if she's that kind of connected where when the governor is signing an abortion bill, she's there. I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. Her malpractice coverage, they're going to see her as, a brave resistor. They're going to see her as a brave resistor. They're going to see her as a brave resistor. So I don't see that happening. I just don't. I don't. So just telling you, I'm just telling you, I don't see that changing things. And you guys may not like that, but that's just the way it's going to be. It's the way it's going to be, chat. It's the way it's going to be. All right. So moving on from here, guys, we are going to talk about the saga of Torswatts. You guys remember Torswatts was part of the organization that had been running around swatting the crap out of everybody. Everybody from Tim Pool to Nick Rada to Patrick Tomlinson. Allegedly, he was kind of helping do it himself to himself. That's just theory. That's an out. Chat. No. Shh. That's an allegation. That's not true. We don't know if that's true. Might be true. Probably kind of makes sense if that one's true. I'm just saying that one might be true. It makes sense if that one turns out to be true. But they also they swatted the shit out of Tim Pool. They swatted Marjorie Taylor Greene. They swatted many as a group, congressmen, senators, high-level government officials. Pretty based to do all that. Eventually they got caught. Jumbo Dunsing, he was 18 when he was charged. Actually, I believe he was under the age of 18 when he was arrested. But that doesn't matter. There's not necessarily juvenile protection like that under federal law for these things. But ultimately, Torswatts ended up pleading out to a couple different things. One of the main people now just got 48 months in prison. And say Alan Fillion of California was sentenced in a court in Florida. But he's 18 years old and he's getting 48 months. 48 months in prison for making interstate threats to injure the person of another. And as part of his plea agreement from basically over a 1.5 year time span, he made over 375 swatting and threat calls, calling in bomb threats and shootings, doing various things. He targeted religious institutions, primarily synagogues, schools and colleges, and government officials. Pretty based right there, chat, across the United States. So he would do, he did everything he could. He would say that he had weapons, he had guns, he had bombs. He was doing everything to claim that he was going to commit a violent crime. This led to people being swatted, which armed law enforcement officers approached and entered targeted residences with their weapons drawn and detained individuals that live there. And that's the danger with swatting. People have their guns out. And when people have their guns out thinking something's going to happen, that's when people get shot. That's when there's discharges that aren't intended and people get hurt. So yes, it's a very dangerous thing. He claimed that when he wanted it to happen, he wanted cops to drag people out of their houses and cuff them and search the house for dead bodies. And yes, he had done it. He had done it for a while. He had done it for both profit and recreation. He started doing it. His first swatting was like 2 to 3 years ago. And in 2022, he turned it into a business. Wow. Uh-oh, boys. Uh-oh. Oh, yes. He also probably is the guy who was swatting the quartering as well. So there you go. On several occasions, he had placed posts on social media advertising his services for swatting for a fee structure. So yes, so that's what happened with him there. Ultimately, he got sentenced. He was sentenced recently. So he's sentenced out of the Middle District of Florida, guys. And is this going to play a role in the Patrick Tomlinson case? Who knows? But he got 4 counts that he pled guilty to, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as part of this, he was imposed by this judge. He imposed a sentence. If you guys have never seen the sentencing entries, this is the judgment in a criminal case. And yes, it does cover his names. Nazgul Swatting's Torswatts V3, the Third Reich of Kiwi Swats, the Table Swats, Angmar, and Torswatts. A lot of AKAs there, chat. A lot of AKAs. So what happened to him? He got 48 months in prison. He got a term of 48 months to counts 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're running concurrently. They're running all together. He's being placed at a Bureau of Prisons facility in California or as close as possible for familial proximity. And that is routine. They do try to place you near your families. That keeps prisoners happy, keeps you connected to your families, keeps you from acting up, because if you're seeing people, that's generally a thing that happens. He was remanded back to the custody of the U.S. Marshals. He was arrested, and he has stayed arrested. We talked about this before. In federal court, if you do get, at times, report dates. So like Owen Schroyer, he had to report to prison. Other people have dates where they have to report to prison. If you're out of custody, you get that luxury. So as we talked about before, when you're watching Goodfellas and he says, take me to prison. That's how that happens. You get a report date later on down the road. When you're in custody, you go straight on the bus to prison. So that is what happened there. Dimitri Bell says, would it be illegal to pay someone to swat someone else? Yes, that's a conspiracy to do it. Then you're engaging as somebody to do it. You're guilty of conspiracy or complicity to engage in, making interstate threats. So yeah, paying someone is just as bad. It's just like paying for murder. Murder for hire is illegal. Any crime for hire, the person paying for it is also guilty as well. So that is, the toe keeps winning. Oh, yes, chat. So just be careful about your swatting, chat. Just be careful about your swattings out there. Don't do your swattings, chat. Don't do your swattings. Kathy, and we're going to get some super chat here real quick. Kathy, a realtor in Jersey, says, I'm a member here. Does that mean me a member on locals? It does not, no. But if you remember here, we do members only streams, guys. So if you have a green label, generally every Wednesday night, we will do a members only thing where we get to hang out and have fun here on YouTube. So keep that in mind. Just this week with the ASAP Rocky trial and then all the Trump stuff, kind of everything got backed up. But we'll go back to doing the Wednesday night members only streams coming up here. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Lisa Marie's been a member for 7 months. She says, here's to putting the fries in the bag. Well, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Stephen Cooper is saying, we can't expect God to do all the work and get rid of all the feds. I agree. We can't. We can't expect him to do all the work. And Angela says, hit the like button. And thank you for being a member, Angela. 3 months in a row. Thank you so much. And then a bibliophile has been a member for 6 months. He says, total gray death and unemployed feds. Praise be Allah. Yes. Yes. Praise be Allah. May he smite all the feds. And then bibliophile with 5, count them, 5 more subs thrown on the pile, chat. That B1B Lancer, that beautiful Lancer, just coming in there. Its Bombay doors open. Just getting ready to drop a big old load on all over you grays, dropping a big old load on you grays. Get ready for it. Lofi here, this is going back to the Aaron Imholt and the Gino Biscani thing, is saying and this is not how that would work. If you were speeding through Ohio and a highway patrolman pulled you over, you could still get a ticket. It's just if you had a warrant, they couldn't enforce the warrant. You are still eligible to being arrested. You're not immune from that. It's just immune from service. So like a process server can't slap you with a lawsuit in Ohio. Or you can't get slapped with an arrest warrant. But you're not immune for committing crimes. It's not like one of those offenses, Chad. So not like that. Not like that. And with that said, though, chat, we do need to go over our sponsors tonight because they do take care of us. They are good people. They're some of the best people, good people on both sides. First of all, we have the dragonstreasure.com, a haven for tea and anime lovers and soap lovers and coffee lovers. Use the promo code criminal for 10% off. That's right, 10% off your purchase of soap, coffee, or tea. And you could do them in any order you want. But you guys can find them over there at thedragonstreasure.com. Buy the Tea Man's tea. Next up, chat, our true friend of the show, a true and honest fan and friend of the show, Matt LaRosier. You know him as Fudbusters at maf-arms.com. MAF Corporation, your premier wind chime dealer in Southern Florida. Guys, they've got good sales on stuff there. Get your wind chimes ready. It's getting nice outside. So get ready for the fun in the sun and let your wind chimes make noise. Get them ready. It's almost time. Sun's out, guns out, chat. We're almost there. We're almost there. And chat, last but not least, we have Stoney's Bar and Grill. That's right, chat. Stoney's at 158 East Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, chat. Yes, you know them. You love them. It's Stoney's. They are still on the winter schedule, chat. They opened at 1 o'clock today, and it's $2.50 can Thursdays, chat. You know, thanks, Baitin, for the inflation, man. Where's that Inflation Reduction Act at? Well, apparently there is $2.50 cans now, chat. It's Thursday. They had a happy hour tonight, 4 to 7. It's still only 10 o'clock, chat. They are open now until midnight. So you've got 2 hours to get completely tore up. It's out there waiting for you. Tomorrow night, they are having The Unwanted is going to be there as the band. And Saturday night, they got the Firebrand band coming out. As far as things are concerned, chat, it's getting nicer outside. So they're getting the patio prepped and ready. It sounds like Aaron might be making a return to the Twister Court. It might be happening. I've heard some things. I've heard Aaron hung him up. And this whole thing with USA Boxing, really gave him perspective. And he's like, I can't quit. He's like, I got to pick up the Twister mat again. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, chat, but it might happen. There might be Naked Twister again in 2025. If you're really down for it, fingers crossed, chat. It might happen. But anyways, chat, you can find this all at Stoney's, your place to go. It's Minnesota's best biker bar, 30 years in a row. Oh. Yamal says, I was on a bus for like 8 hours and you can't talk because a U.S. Marshal has a shotgun pointed at you. Oh, so you've been on a bus before. That's not a lot of fun. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt it. Oh. Friday night, April was reading her poetry. Oh, I'm sure it's her and Nick doing a poetry jam session. Third World Aristocrat says Twister is better than boxing. Yes, so true, chat. Yes, Aaron's gonna give that spinner one last spin, chat. One last hurrah. All right, guys. Moving on from there, there's a couple of other things that have happened. Ohio. Well, actually, we're going to skip that for now. R. Kelly, chat. Yeah, R. Kelly. You remember him? You remember that guy? Well, R. Kelly was convicted of basically trafficking women across state lines, engaging in human slavery, among other things. And R. Kelly was convicted in federal court and got a 30-year prison term. Well, that case has kind of run its course, and R. Kelly had his appeal. And R. Kelly's appeal, well, I'm just getting here to tell you, chat, in case you were wondering. Shocker. The Court of Appeals upheld R. Kelly's conviction for multiple counts. It's right here, chat. We might go through it at some point. It's 85 pages long. He got BTFO'd, chat. You know that. Everybody saw that coming. But R. Kelly's Dunsky. R. Kelly's Dunsky. His 30-year term. Yeah. So his convictions for sex trafficking and racketeering were upheld. And they found no arguments that were compelling. And this is actually, it's a long time it took for them. They heard his arguments back in March. They argued it in March and they decided it now. That's a really long time. But that goes to show you they had a lot to go over and a lot to deal with. Almost a whole year in between. Almost a whole year. Now, it is funny because R. Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, says that she believed the Supreme Court will agree to hear the appeal. That'd be very interesting. That'll be very interesting if that happens. But yeah, I don't think that will. I don't think that will. I don't think that'll happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to give him cert for that issue, but we'll see. We'll see. Mad Rhetoric saying, is he serving time now? Yes, R. Kelly's been in jail for a long time now. He's been in since he got, like, the indictment came down. So we're going back over at least 2 years now. R. Kelly's been in custody for a long freaking time, man. For a long, long time. Just like P. Diddy. When P. Diddy got arrested, he's not getting out. Either he wins a trial or he's going away forever. So we'll see there. We'll see there. He should have admitted the Boondocks episode as evidence. Yes. Yeah, well, that didn't happen, but there are some arguments when you read through it that are interesting, that there are some issues about how the prosecutor applied the RICO and everything to R. Kelly. So there are some concerns there. But he has other cases, like he has his 20-year sentence that he got for his case in Chicago. But ultimately, yeah, R. Kelly's toast. Maybe he gets a chance at some point, but I'm just not counting on it. I'm not counting on what's going to happen here. But yes, R. Kelly got, just BTFO'd at this point. Where? Yeah, just wanted, we thought we'd address that because it is out there. Yes, and the suffer baby oil hoarder, enjoy prison. Safa. Well, remember, that's P. Diddy, the baby oil hoarder. So, but maybe P. Diddy was holding on to R. Kelly's baby oil bottles. We don't know. Could be, chat. It could be. Could be. Now, moving on to some Trump-related issues, chat. I saw this, and we're going to just start addressing some of these. This one, I was, like, very surprised at. So right after Trump was dealing with his assassination attempt, a drone basically followed his convoy, and the Secret Service had to use electronic warfare means to knock it out. So yeah, that's a thing that happened. And a lot of it's thought to be for the Iranian government because of us killing the head of the Quds Force, which is basically their special operations group that operates around the world. If you played Call of Duty, the newest one, where they're going after that guy, the Quds Force, that's the type of shit they do. They engage in terrorism everywhere. But yes, Qasem Soleimani, he got his asshole blown out at Baghdad International Airport. Anyway, this is Did they use the raspberry? I don't know. What they talk about this here though. So they had concerns. Obviously, he had the attack in July where he got wounded. There was the guy in September, just 2 months later, hiding out the golf course. So they had concerns. But like, just look at how crazy things got for Trump. They had him fly on to events on a decoy airplane owned by his friend Steve Witkoff. Like, they did all kinds of stuff. So it's funny because his campaign manager joined Trump on the plane, but the rest of the staff, including the campaign team, all flew on Trump Force One. So like, everybody else got to be on the decoy plane. It's like, what happens if we get attacked? Uh-oh. Everybody else gets wiped out. Like, you're going down for the Emperor of Mankind. I don't know how well people accepted that. But he told people the boss ain't riding with us today. And he didn't go, gee, that's not a good thing. But anyways, chat, in the meantime, there he is, the Emperor, back in his rightful seat on Air Force One. So it is interesting what happened. But they did multiple ghost flights. They had decoy motorcades for him at that point. You know, and during a trip to Pennsylvania, they noticed a drone was following the motorcade, and it led one of the Secret Service people to open the moonroof on the vehicles and shoot down the drone with an electromagnetic drone gun. And guys, if you don't know, those Suburbans that the Secret Service has in those convoys, the tops of them have a big old moonroof, and that moonroof can retract very quickly. And some of them just have the guys in the back, the counter assault dudes, just ready to start throwing down hate. There's widely believed, although we have never seen it in action, some of those might also have like Crow systems, remote weapon systems in it, like a remote 50 cal, a remote Mark 19, or a remotely operated minigun, and just bzzz all over the place. We don't really know because they've never had to deploy it. In this situation, they used one of those electronic jamming drone guns that looked like a big old Nintendo zapper, and they disabled the drone and crashed it. It doesn't sound like there's no news of anybody ever being charged with it, so who knows what happened there. It could have been some idiot just following the convoys, but yes, this is getting pretty serious, and I just thought it was interesting, chat, to talk about that. You know, this is a thing. This is a thing, and look at him there. Look at him there, casting his spells on the masses, getting them to love him. He's getting ready with that ball of energy and just casting it out into the crowd. So, yeah, just something there. Jumbo Dunce is a Sea-Wiz. No, it would be a crow's mount. The Sea-Wiz is the point defense system, and they don't have that. That's not set up for that. It would just be a close-in system there. Nico says that's some Airwolf shit. I mean, maybe. Yamal says there's a missile delivery system, one of them. Oh, I'm sure there's a missile delivery system. I'm sure they have a Stinger set up in one of those to start knocking out airborne threats. I'm sure they're set up for a lot of things. I wouldn't be surprised if in one of those there's a guy with a javelin sitting there, an AT-4, ready to just start lighting shit on fire. Just because I don't think you could fit one in there, I'm surprised. Like, if they could figure out how to put a tow missile inside of one of those, they probably would. But yes, guys, the presidential thing is protected very, very well. And if you ever want to read about some cool dudes, read about the Secret Service counter assault teams. Those guys are pretty cool. Like, the snipers they have are pretty good, but the counter assault dudes, it's basically like a death squad. And their job is to start engaging the threats and literally keep that threat there, kill them while the president escapes. They're pretty neat setup they have. Pretty neat setup. So, yeah, they have mad pads, but it's going to be more. I don't think it's a mad pad, Tenok. They probably have a setup kind of like how there's the Avenger, the Hummer, that's got the multiple Stinger battery thing launcher on it. They might have a mad pad or two, but I bet they also just have a launcher that pops up and it'll start chucking out Stingers. as groups of them. So, yeah. Now, moving on from there, guys. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, we covered this a while back. His case, he was charged with violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act and bribery and corruption cases. He was taking money from the Turkish government and doing so in an illegal manner. He was indicted for that in federal court. Well, there has been an update to that case, and it's led to some interesting things that have happened. This is what's happened here is the U.S. Attorney and the DOJ have decided to dismiss the case against Eric Adams. So they're going to dismiss it against him. In the meantime, the acting, and this is where things start happening here, and this is where I thought it was interesting to cover the stuff. The acting U.S. Attorney refused to do it, and she refused to dismiss the case. And this is her. Her name is Danielle Sassoon. She is the acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Now, she's the acting one because Trump appointed her acting, while the guy who will become the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York is still waiting to be confirmed by the Senate. U.S. attorneys have to be confirmed. So they're waiting until he gets confirmed. There's an acting in charge, which means this is already somebody they liked and were happy with. Well, in response to this order to dismiss, she filed with Pam Bondi. She wrote a letter. And she said, and this is where things start. We're starting to see just how this thing goes. And it's about the United States versus Eric Adams, and it's the case number there. And they're talking about to dismiss the case. And she says, I received a memorandum from Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove. Remember, if you guys remember that name, Emil Bove is Trump's attorney that helped him in his New York case, and also his case down in Florida. And it was going to be involved in his case in Washington, D.C. Him and Todd Blanche were going to be doing that. So he's going to be the Deputy Attorney General. And they directed him to dismiss the indictment against Eric Adams without prejudice. Now, why are they doing it without prejudice? Well, the argument is they're going to look into things, and ideally the theory is Eric Adams may have information and know where the bodies are buried when it comes to dealing with Kathy Hochul and Letitia James. And I know I talked to Joe last night, good logic about it. I think Trump is looking to go after these people for what they've done wrong to America. And then, yeah, also because they did things to him, and they think Eric Adams can help with it. So she says, I do not repeat here the evidence against Eric Adams that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed federal crimes. And she says that, nobody's called into question the investigation or the prosecution team. The memo, though, directs me to dismiss an indictment returned by a grand jury for reasons that have nothing to do with the strength of the case, and raise serious concerns that render the contemplated dismissal inconsistent with my ability to prosecute federal crimes without fear or favor and to advance good faith arguments before the courts. So she said that she has concerns about it. She says that I vowed to well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office which I was about to enter. And she said she's guided by the principles of federal prosecution set forth in the Justice Manual. And they said their recent memoranda instructing attorneys to make only good faith arguments and not use the criminal enforcement authority to achieve political objectives. And she says, I'm guided by values that have defined my time in public service. And she said, even though we haven't met, to even discuss this case, but she says, I've worked for a couple different people. I worked for a judge in the Fourth Circuit, and she also clerked for Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court. So to be fair, guys, she's pretty based. She worked for Scalia. Do I think Eric Adams is getting ready for governorship in 2026? Probably. Trump will back him. So that's the thing. Like, this isn't just some like Democrat Yahoo like we're dealing with at other places. This is a Scalia clerk. She said, I've always considered my obligation to pursue justice impartially without favor to the wealthy or those who occupy important public office or harsher treatment for the less powerful. And she says that I therefore deem it necessary to the faithful discharge of my duties to raise concerns with you and requests an opportunity to discuss them further. She says, I can't fulfill my obligations and do this. And she says, if I seek to dismiss the Adams case on the record. And she says that there's not a valid basis to seek dismissal. And she goes on and on for many pages, many pages about this. And she says that there's a lot of issues about what Eric Adams did. And I think, yes, based on what's presented here, Eric Adams did a lot of sketchy shit. But Eric Adams is going to be a pawn in this political situation. You know, they're talking about his consent to this will not aid her in making the decision. She goes on to further state that she can't in good faith request the contemplated dismissal. So she says at this point, if you will not meet me in light of these problems, I offer my resignation. And she offers it up. Well, very quickly afterwards, the next day, we get a letter from the acting deputy attorney general. And he says, Bish, do you not understand what I told you to do? And he just looks at her and says, Bish, you were given an order. And it says, Miss Sassoon, in response to your refusal to comply, I write to notify you of the following. First, your resignation is accepted. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Bye, Felicia. Yes, this is not a negotiation, lady. This is not a negotiation. He says, this decision is based on your choice to continue pursuing a politically motivated prosecution, despite an express instruction to dismiss the case. You lost sight of the oath you took when you started at the DOJ by suggesting that you retain discretion to interpret the Constitution in a manner inconsistent with the policies of a democratically elected president and a Senate-confirmed attorney general. Second, you indicated the prosecution team is aware of your communications with the Justice Department, is supportive of your approach, and is unwilling to comply with the order to dismiss the case. Accordingly, because you snitched out your friends, the AUSA's principally responsible are being placed on off-duty administrative leave. The leave remains in effect until full further force. It's not disciplinary or adverse, but they're being sent home on paid leave. They are not allowed to have their government laptop, their phones, their ID badges, or duty station access. Oh no. Uh-oh. But the Office of the Attorney General and the Office of Professional Responsibility will investigate and evaluate your conduct. Oh, Jesus Christ. And he says, at the conclusion of these investigations, the AG will determine whether termination or other action is appropriate. And he said, based on our attendance at a recent meetings, I understand the relevant AUSAs to be Hagen Scotton and Derek Wilkstrom. If either of them wish to comply with my directive but were prohibited, or if they wish to make me aware of other mitigating circumstances, they can contact my office directly. They're saying, look, if you told them not to do it, then, you know, fair enough. You're following your chain of command. But they point out they've taken steps to remove electronic devices, and I ask that you and the AUSAs cooperate and preserve all electronic and hard copy records relating to this matter. Third, under your leadership, this office has demonstrated itself to be incapable of fairly and impartially reviewing the circumstances. Therefore, the prosecution is transferred to the Justice Department, which will file a motion to dismiss pursuant to Rule 48 of the Criminal Rules of Procedure. Bish, you're going to make me take care of it myself. My prior directive regarding no further targeting remains in place. Oh. And he says that Trump established Executive Order 14147. And he says that it's a policy of the U.S. to take appropriate action to correct past misconduct related to the weaponization of law enforcement. Now, a lot of people believe that everybody knew Eric Adams was taking money, but only because he started getting mad when New York City was getting flooded with illegals. that he started backing Trump, and therefore the DOJ went after him. And I think that's probably what happened. Like, they were kind of holding this on the back burner, and they just went after him like it. Let's see here. Prestige Sense says New York can't lose their federal funding fast enough. Yeah. Yep. So they say your office was not exempted from the president's policy or the attorney general's memorandum to only advance good faith arguments. And he says, on February 10th, I directed you to dismiss this. I told you to do it. My February 10th memorandum indicated that I acted pursuant to authorization of the attorney general. The mechanism for dismissal says the rule confers the power to file a dismissal by leave of court on the attorney general, as well as the U.S. attorney. And it says, prior to issuing the memorandum, I reviewed the filings of the matter in your office's prosecution memoranda and classified submissions. I met with you and the prosecution team, so he did meet with her. We held a separate meeting that involved you, the prosecution team, and defense counsel, and then met with you privately in my office. So he did meet with her. Suffer! Jesus! During those meetings, I invited written submissions, and I carefully reviewed those submissions. Thus, your recent suggestion about a lack of process around the DOJ is not grounded in reality. You have not complied with my directives. Further, you made it clear you didn't intend to do so during telephone calls with myself and the Attorney General's Chief of Staff on February 11th, as well as in a written submission to the Attorney General that day. You also stated the prosecution team had reviewed your letter, and they would not file a motion to dismiss. At approximately 1:50, you tendered your resignation via email. Oh, wow. So, he says the weaponization finding was made by policy set forth by Trump. You have no authority to contest that finding or second the independent basis requiring dismissal. We will not tolerate insubordination and apparent misconduct. He says you got to put the fries in the bag, baby. Girlfriend, you got to put the fries in the bag, and you won't. Ooh. What's this lady going to do with her life now? She clerked for a Supreme Court justice. She's fine. She'll get a job at some law firm. She's going to survive. Like, just guys, like, it's not like she's going to be like working at, like scraping the fryer at Waffle House or something. Like, come on now. She'll get a job somewhere. It's not going to be hard for her. The improper weaponization. They have concerns regarding the handling of it. Those concerns include behavior of unacceptable appearances of impropriety and the politicization of your office. The investigation was accelerated after Adams publicly criticized Biden's failed immigration policies and led by a former U.S. attorney with deep connections to the former attorney general who oversaw the weaponization of the Justice Department. Like I said, people believe that's the case, and it kind of looks like that. Based on my review, the charging decision was rushed as the election approached, and the former U.S. attorney appears to have been pursuing political appointments in the event Kamala Harris won the election. So, the former U.S. attorney launched a website personally, which closely resembled a campaign website that touts articles about the ongoing prosecution of Adams with titles such as U.S. Attorney Damian Williams has come for the Kings. A mayor, a rapper, a senator, a billionaire. Meet the man who prosecuted them all. There you go, guys. What the hell? Wow. If this guy, Damian Williams, really did that, wow, what a fucking loser. What a loser. The former U.S. attorney increased the appearance of impropriety by releasing an op-ed entitled An Indictment in the Sad State of New York Government. And the former U.S. attorney also made what I reasonably interpret as a reference to himself in that piece when he suggested that there was a need for elected officials willing to disrupt the status quo. You did not directly defend his behavior, nor could you. Instead of addressing these concerns with the district court, you simply claim these actions were besides the point. Not true. Not true! Saying it's not true. Oh, God. This is scathing, guys. This is very scathing. So, we can keep going here. Similarly, the fact that AUSA has convinced the grand jury to return an indictment based on a one-sided and inherently partial representation of the evidence does not establish the case is appropriate. That's a very based outlook from a prosecutor. Just because a grand jury got fed a bunch of bullshit does not mean it's good. That's pretty based by Emil Bove. Pretty based. Not only if they keep that going forward. You referenced the schedule underlying the prosecution of Senator Menendez is not in any way persuasive in light of the evidence handling issues that arose in connection with that trial. If anything, that experience counsels in favor of more caution in these matters, but not less. But the record does not reflect such caution. In October 2024, the AUSA responsible for Mayor Adams represented the first batch of discovery included 560 gigabytes of data. Thus, as a trial date was negotiated, Adams was faced with an impossible choice between seeking to defend himself at a pre-election trial in the hopes he could campaign based on exoneration and taking a reasonable amount of time to review discovery and prepare his defense at a post-election trial. That's a lot of fucking discovery, chat. And remember, that's just the first batch. That's not even like other batches of it. There's probably tons of data. Oh, and somebody tells me the site is real. Oh my God, is this real? Okay, yes. Damian Williams. This is him, chat. This is the guy. This is him here. Oh, wow. This is DamianWilliamsOfficial.com. What kind of retarded shit is going to be here? Let's see here. Wow. Yeah, why is he? Yeah, this is oh yeah, look at all this stuff. He's got political articles, Variety. Wow, yeah, this guy is all about he's all about the self-gloss. He's all about the self-gloss, chat. So there you go. So he's got a degree from Harvard, Master's of Philosophy and International Relations from University of Cambridge, and JD from Yale. Oh, okay. Oh, and look who he was a clerk to. Merrick B. Garland. When he was on the United States Court of Appeals for the DC Circuit. Merrick Garland. And then he was a clerk to John Paul Stevens on the United States Supreme Court. There you go. That's a lot what you need to know there. Yeah. 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 So there you go. Yes. Oy vey, oh shock. Yes, I agree. Oh. Well, so we're gonna get back to this real quick, chat. We're gonna finish this up here. So they talk about the interference with Mayor Adams' ability to govern. They ruined it here. And he says more broadly, he says, we told you to dismiss. And he says that there's no valid basis to dismissal. You're incorrect. The contention is a dereliction of your duty. So they point out, we told you to dismiss. We told you to dismiss. Any concerns you and your office had about the prospects of the motion were not a valid basis for insubordination. And he says that there's additional issues. The legal theories here are extremely aggressive. And he says there's a lot of concerns about this. He says, it's my understanding that around the time these charges were filed, the prosecution team made representations regarding Mayor Ada's status in the investigation are consistent with the definitions of target and subject. And while they had already decided to draft a prosecution memo, the team invited Mayor Adams in to a proffer. They baited him to make an unprotected statement after they had already decided to try to move forward with the case. Which, if they did that, they offered him to come in. Hey, make a proffer. That's fucked up. if they really did this, this is absolutely fucked up, chat. Absolutely fucked up. Wow. Wow. Well, he says, I take no pleasure in imposing these measures and requiring personnel from the DOJ to come do your work that your team should have done and was required to do. However, it's necessary. Signed, Emil Bove. And given to these guys by hand delivery so they can, like, you're going home for a while. You're on paid leave, brother. Oh, suffer glowies. Total fed boy death. Ah. Wow. Ag is saying, is it as sanctionable to bar? No. This is merely just disobeying your boss. If you worked at a firm, this is not sanctionable in that regard. Wow. Wow. Kay says, could she be held accountable for the proffer situation? I don't think so, because I don't think she was in charge of that. That would have been Damian Williams at the time. But regardless, it sounds like they did some fucked up shit to him. But we'll see. We'll see what gets released. We will see what gets released. So there you go. It's interesting, guys. We are, once again, I mean, you live in interesting times. I guess, yeah. Moving on here, because it is Valentine's Day coming up, chat. Well, it's in about a half hour from now. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day 2.0. Love you, baby. Mwah. Crickets. Sad. I don't know if 2.0 is even listening to me right now. But a Indiana teen was going to do a Valentine's Day shooting. Oh boy. Now it's not a teen, they say teen girl, but I mean, we don't really know for sure. There are allegations that this is a transgender person. We don't really know. I've heard both things. But anyway, Trinity Shockley was arrested this week within days of police uncovering a plot to shoot up the high school. So finally the police knew about it and they acted on it. You're like, thank God they did, finally. So yeah, there you go. Getting ready to do a shooting. Will you be mine? So the tip-off came on the FBI Tuesday, and the FBI knew, and they actually shared the tip. Thank God. Thank God in Trump's America, the FBI is actually taking care of business and actually going after the right people. Wow. It's obviously training, and this is a conspiracy theorist W. Well, Trinity is a sus name, to be fair. I agree. I'm not saying it's not. Look, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying, yes, kind of rhymes the same. And yeah, it's amazing what the FBI could do all of a sudden. It's like they just flick the switch and they can start doing this now, which means they could have always done this. Yes, very Adam Lanza looking. Yes, very true. Very true. Does he have a farms thread yet? I don't know. Probably at some point. But yes, eventually maybe we'll get to see a manifesto out of this chat. Yes, that's the thing, Peyton. You're right. They know a mass shooting won't result in a gun ban this time. So like, oh, we can't even bother. We may as well just stop them now. So she's being held without bail and being charged with conspiracy to commit murder, threats to commit terrorism, and conspiracy to commit intimidation. I would agree. Yes, shooting people is intimidating. So previously she was hit by a drunk driver on the way to school. Yeah, I bet that looks pretty painful, but going to prison is going to be very painful. If successful, the shooting would have fallen on the 7th anniversary of the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where Nicholas Cruz played duck hunt and somehow David Hogg didn't get caught up in it. Yeah, that's interesting, chat. The FBI actually did something right for once. It's like, wow. It's imagine if they did that all the time. Imagine if they did that all the time, chat. Imagine if they did. Let me see here. We need to, sorry, chat. Trying to consolidate my feed here, which helps. We're getting done, chat. We're almost there. We're going to blow through a couple different things here. Guys, as an update, Steve Bannon. Yes, Steve Bannon, that guy from the Trump administration, the architect of 2016, was forced to plead guilty in court in New York City on state felony fraud charges. Now, it's about his case that We Fund the Wall organization, where he had previously been federally indicted, received a pardon from Trump, but then was charged under state-level crimes for the same thing. Remember, there are dual sovereigns. They both have jurisdiction over the offenses. So Steve Bannon was indicted and charged in New York as part of Alvin Bragg's shit, which Trump's coming for you too, Alvin Bragg. Just, he ain't going to forget about you. But yes, he had already been pardoned for this previously. He is accused of stealing money from donations to build a southern border wall. If you guys remember the We Fund the Wall campaign, they had actually built a nice little chunk of wall previously. But anyways, guys, if you don't know who Steve Bannon is, this is him. He runs the War Room show. It's on Rumble, Steve Bannon's War Room. He ended up going to jail, and serving time for contempt of Congress already. He's been through the ringer dealing with all the stuff here. He did give his right to appeal as part of the plea deal, but he is getting basically time served, and he's not facing any jail time for the single felony count of defrauding the donors who sought to build the wall. He initially had 5 felony counts, including money laundering. He was looking at 5 to 15 years. Instead, he received a 3-year conditional discharge, meaning basically he's on probation for now, and we'll see what happens there. So, fuck you, Alvin Bragg. Fuck all of you in the New York government for what you did here. But don't worry, you will not escape the justice of President Donald John Trump. So there you go. So that is the update there. If you guys were wondering what happened, the lawfare has not ceased. The lawfare has not ceased. So he looks like Ron Bennington walking. Oh, thanks, Bob. That's great. I didn't think about that, but it's great. Bannon reminds me of Milo in temperament. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So he wears 5 collared shirts. Yeah, that is the thing with Steve Bannon. He likes wearing a lot of shirts, and it's really fucking weird. The guy does a lot of weird shit. But yeah, that's who he is. That's, if you got people were wondering about that, that's what's going on. Moving on from there, chat, more Trump-related stuff regarding a pardon. Rod Blagojevich, the former governor of Illinois, was pardoned by Trump this week. If you guys don't know him, this is Rod Blagojevich. He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast. He has that really goofy hair that got dyed black when he was governor of Illinois. Continuing the fine tradition of Illinois governors being indicted. But he was sent to prison on corruption charges. Basically, he was accused of selling Barack Obama's Senate seat when Obama became president. So that is what he went to prison for. He was a Republican governor of Illinois. I'm sorry, he's a Democrat governor from 2003 to 2009. He tried to sell Obama's seat. He was eventually convicted on a bunch of corruption counts. And he was sentenced to 14 years. He'd served 8. And Trump commuted his sentence in 2020. And since then, Trump decides, I'll pardon you. And that's the neat thing. The commutation can happen, and then you can still be pardoned. Remember, the commutation, you can layer them on top of each other. So there's the commutation, then you can layer on top the pardon and finally wipe it out. But Trump doesn't have to. So kind of like with the Oath Keepers. A bunch of them received commutations. Trump could eventually pardon them if he wants to, or he could just say, you guys are good. It all depends what he wants to do. So yes, he's no longer under any disabilities there. So that is an update to what's gone on. Yes, Roddy Blago. Yes. JB Pritzker belongs in prison. Oh, I think that's going to happen. Don't you worry. He's going after people. So, was there evidence that he was trying to sell the seat? Yeah, from what I understand, he kind of the FBI had stung him. There was some evidence that he was trying to sell the seat, but I mean, it's Illinois. It's corrupt as shit. Like, I don't think that was outside the norm. It's Illinois politics. The idea that was outside the realm is pretty much kind of how it's deserved there. Yes, that's the ultimate theory here. The allegation is he didn't give Obama a taste of the action. Obama wasn't allowed to wet his beak in that money, and that's why he got indicted. But we're not really sure, although that wouldn't surprise me. Or if other Chicago people in the Chicago machine were not allowed to wet their beak. Mayor Daley, sorry. Yes, but the Chicago way is still a thing. And then from there, guys, in Arizona, this is an interesting case. The fake electors issue. And we're seeing this in other states where during the 2020 election, the organizations that put together slates of electors to challenge the January 6th electoral college certification were being put together. Well, Arizona, a bunch of those people got indicted, including Trump lawyer John Eastman and Rudy Giuliani, among other people there. This also is part of what was part of Fani Willis's RICO case in Georgia. In Michigan, there's a case of this. I think in Wisconsin, they're looking to start going after people. But in Arizona, interesting stuff happened here. So in Maricopa County, a judge said that the defendants demonstrated in their briefings that the indictment that they have, there's an indictment, is arguably lawful speech. And he cites the anti-SLAPP law in Arizona, chat. Arizona's anti-SLAPP law is being used. Now think about it. When we talk about the anti-SLAPP laws, that's used to defend people generally in civil cases when they're being accused of defamation or other things like that. It's generally a civil remedy. But the judge here says that's a law that's protecting free speech, and he's applying it in the criminal setting. That's kind of novel. Pretty based. You know, if people do have the right to, a strategic lawsuits against public participation. That's what's being alleged here. Chip is saying, at least in some part, arguably lawful speech. Yes, but he's allowing them to proceed on this theory. And the judge seemed very receptive to it based upon the way this is reporting. But the judge has basically said, you have 45 days to explain to me why this doesn't matter. But based on that, the judge has said, like, I'm kind of sympathetic to this point. This is kind of bullshit. So we'll see how that works here. We'll see how this works, because ultimately, all these people were charged with basically conspiracy and fraudulent schemes and forgery as part of what was going on here. But in the meantime, the judge has stayed all discovery, which is kind of impressive. He's like, we're not doing any more discovery. Work on your motions to dismiss and motions to go back to the grand jury. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how that shakes out there. It's going to be interesting. And I'm sure that the people in Arizona, the Arizona Attorney General and other parties are getting a little scared because they see what Trump's doing here. So it'll be very interesting to see how that works. We'll get some more updates, but I want to let you guys know that was something we just want to touch on very quickly there. From their chat, we've got, Ohio might have a ban on masturbating soon. So might Mississippi. So if you're in Ohio, you're in the Buckeye State, and you like debate, or if you like gooning, your gooning days might be over, chat. Your gooning days might be over. Some of you are saying good. Okay, well, there is a bit of an issue here, and this is all being done to jerk people around in response to the various laws regarding abortion and abortion bans. So legislators in Ohio and Mississippi are looking to, and Ohio, it hasn't happened yet. They've talked about putting the bill together. So it hasn't officially been submitted yet, but they're making it an offense to ejaculate without the intent of conceiving a baby as a felony. And it's done by 2 Ohio State representatives, are both Democrats, and one of them's an OB-GYN. And they're saying that, it's a tongue-in-cheek means of highlighting the hypocrisy behind abortion laws. And they're, if we're going to penalize someone for an unwanted pregnancy, why not penalize a person also responsible? So they're attempting, and this is from their, obviously, they're using Blue Sky. And they're saying, why regulate abortions when you could just punish men? And these are the 2 people that did it. Of course, you can look at them. I'm sure they look like true winners, don't they, chat? They look like great people. And in Mississippi, the bill is actually in a text form here. So it shall be unlawful for a person to discharge genetic material. Now, why do they say person? Because it's only a man. There is no ZZ or him, her thing. It's only men that discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. And there's criminal penalties for it. And they're saying that it shall be unlawful to discharge genetic material without the intent to fertilize an embryo. Pornhub most affected, chat. $1,000 for the first offense, $5,000 for a second offense, and $10,000 for subsequent offenses. I mean, are they going to basically bankrupt? They're going to bankrupt like legions of teenage boys before they're even 18 years old, chat. I don't know how this is going to work. Pitchlock saying maybe they're counting squirters. Wouldn't this cover a period? Well, it's not, because I think you'd argue that that's not what the that material can't be fertilizing an embryo at that point. So, yeah, what happens if you have a wet dream? What if you have a nocturnal emission? Your Honor, it was involuntary. Oh. Keith Carter saying it's totally worth it anyway. Breaking the law. Yes. Breaking the law by Baitin, chat. Kumageddon, yes. Ron Breton saying women spitting will be the discharge of genetic material. Yes. So it's not only that, the state of Mississippi is banning masturbating, but also forcing women to swallow. It's like, oh no, that's great. Having Cake says, what if someone jerks you off? Well, there you go. Yeah, that's the other thing. What if someone else causes it to happen? Who's liable? Is it now a conspiracy? The rule regrets says this is crazy. Yeah, it's funny though. Now, guys, none of these are going to pass. It's not going to pass, but it is kind of hilarious that they're trying to do this now. Yes, these women probably couldn't get anybody to have sex with them. Neo Dark Matter says, we got an alert. Yes. Sir, we have an alert. You went to Farm Hub. We're going to have to sweep a room with the black light. Agent Fuentes, can you please produce the black light, sir? Nick Fuentes is going to get hired by the Mississippi State Police. Comes walking with his aviators on. He's like, I smell cum. And he's going to start searching for it. Oh. Lots of humping dogs going to jail. Okay, guys, it's not going to be a law. Yes, Destiny's not going to Ohio. Oh, God. The Hawk Tuah girl's banned in Ohio. Yes, that's true. Okay. It's a legislative shitpost, yes. But it's hilarious. It's hilarious. There you go. Nick Fuentes fired by Mississippi for tainting the evidence with his tongues. Oh, no, chat. No. No. No, chat. No. Yes, he'll hunt it down like a bloodhound. Oh, God. So, yeah, this is interesting. Interesting stuff there. Interesting stuff. So, just be careful, chat. You know, the right to keep and have goon arms is not guaranteed. Is not guaranteed. The right to bait and bear gooning is not guaranteed. You always have to defend it, chat. So remember, you know, all gave some and some gave all. Yes, Nick and Aaron would need all the evidence. Oh gosh. And the last thing tonight, guys, it's interesting what they're looking to do in the state of Washington. Is something that got passed. It's not passed yet, but it has been referred out. This is a law that's being proposed in Washington State. It's not going to go anywhere, but they're looking to establish criminal liability and civil liability for attorneys, for criminal defense counsel. And you're like, well, in what way are attorneys going to be liable? Well, the way they look at it as any person injured by an individual who was previously arrested for a violent offense and released from custody before trial for such offense as a result of the advocacy of their criminal defense counsel has a cause of action against such counsel if the individual caused injury after being released and the criminal defense counsel failed to adequately consider the risk of public harm that could result from the individual being released from society. So basically, if I do a good enough job getting my client out on bond, it's my fault if they commit a crime, which, yeah, that's really the idea. You want to do something there with that. Have attorneys saying, no, Your Honor, keep him in jail. Yeah, I don't see how that works. That would be completely this is some moronic shit right here. So that would be interesting in how they do this. So they talk about like what would happen here is a written assessment about all known evidence about the individual's violent history, the vulnerability of anyone the individual has previously victimized, the adequacy of alternatives to custody, and includes public records, the testimony of law enforcement officials. And they say no form of legal immunity may be raised as immunity or defense. And they say that the idea that criminal defense counsel has absolute immunity from liability when acting in the scope of their duties, or that immunity is warranted or necessary to protect their role as an advocate. They're saying it doesn't fucking matter. And it's like, yeah, I would deal with this because I have ethical obligations. I have to represent my client. And, whoever this guy is, Representative Graham, Chase, Walsh, and Schmidt can all fuck themselves. Seriously, they can all suffer. Now they're saying the court shall at least make award of nominal damages if the plaintiff's prevailing. The court may also award reasonable attorney's fees as well. And the court may grant declaratory and injunctive relief, which I don't know how you could grant injunctive relief to an attorney saying you can't advocate for defendants anymore, or you can't ask for bond anymore. I don't know how that would work. Some of this stuff doesn't work here. Some of this stuff doesn't work. Yeah, why? Tim's right. Why aren't we making the judges liable? Notice that's not happening. Why aren't DAs being held liable? No, it's just the defense attorneys. Yeah, this is yeah. Keith says, what if the defendant's jerking it while on bond? Well, it depends on what state they're in. Yes. So they say whenever the claim is brought under the section, it's by clear and convincing evidence that if you're personally liable for all costs of the defense and judgment. And then any political subdivision must not pay any part of the subsequent cost, defense, or judgment, which means if you're a public defender, the state can't cover you. You're on your own. If you're court-appointed counsel, the public defender's office can't cover you. You're on your own. Any cost of the defense of this paid by the state must be repaid by the defendant within 1 year of the entry of judgment. So let's say the public defender's office does pay for your defense. You're now liable for that money. So, yeah, fuck all that. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. Yes. So much for zealous advocacy. Yep. And that should fall on the judge. Yep. And this is the opposite of bail reform. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, when you get retarded pendulum swings, we've gone all the way of like, we're letting people out for everything. We're on the other side now. And now it's just as retarded. It's just as retarded. So, whoever filed this should be held liable, yes. Liability for a plea deal? No, sir. I agree. Trial 100%, yeah. Access suffer lawyers. Suffer. Here's the neat thing. I don't have to suffer. I run the system. I ain't going to suffer in my own system. Let me tell you what. We ain't going to suffer. You can't make us suffer. It doesn't work that way. You can't. Try to make us suffer. Doesn't work. That's a shame, since I want to hear Andrea's take on this. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, but I think she's still like in Chile doing cool shit. So maybe she's back. People saying what is and isn't constitutional in this administration, Lamau. Yes. Yeah, suffer fat man. Suffer lawyers. So ordered. Oh, Sean's hat is shrinking. I know. No, it's. Yes, apparently Panzer thinks this is a very, very anti-Talmudic action. Oh. I'm wearing the tiniest of hats. Yes, that's only shrinking and the result of this case. Well, we'll see what happens, chat. And with that, it is midnight. Hold on, chat. Happy Valentine's Day, babe. Mwah. Are you out there? Oh, I think I bored her. She's already asleep, chat. So I guess happy Valentine's Day 2.0. Happy Valentine's Day, baby. Anyways, happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there in chat. And we're all done for the night. We are all done. We got caught up. We got through everything. We got through everything I wanted to do. Oh, actually, we forgot to. Well, we didn't get to the Proud Boys story. I'll save that for next week. Spoiler alert: the Proud Boys lost their trademark and copyright over their emblems and symbols to a black church. Very, isn't it ironic? But with that said, chat, we are going to finish things up. Tomorrow, we are going to finish up the ASAP Rocky trial. Because holy shit, the closing arguments went on and on and on forever. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But we'll start that probably tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock again. I kind of get the feeling the jury might come back before that time. And I think he's going to get a hung jury. I don't think he's going to get convicted. But we'll see. We'll see. I will say at the end, his case does not sound the strongest. But we'll finish that up. Not sure yet what we're going to plan for the weekend, but we work on some things. We still have this bad boy to get it done. I know, just painting tanks. I know, doing something productive with your life. Skills and hobbies. I know, chat. I know. So with that said, we got to get some of the super chats here out of the way, chat. Let's go here. So we have Bibliophile. We got that. Nick Kreuzer is saying, Your Honor, there's no watermark on the image. Sir, that isn't water. Ew. Oh, no. Gene Williams is saying, how did the USS Truman, the Harry S. Truman, an aircraft carrier, collide with a freighter? I don't know, but that's really hard to do. But they managed to do it. Fire Pixie It's been a member for 7 months. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the support. Hope you're feeling better. Says, cheers to the best chat and host. Well, thank you. And also Fire Pixie did a $10 super sticker. Well, thank you. Thank you. Let's see here. What else we got? We got Hellbeard. It says the mom forcing her daughter to have the abortion is beyond sick. That's close to wood chipper territory. I agree. Not good. Not good. Not good at all. Hellbeard is also saying the saddest outcome of all this swatting is that Quarter Pounder and Dimpool haven't quit yet. Well, there's too much money for Tim to quit. Although Tim is quitting West Virginia, apparently. I don't know where he's going to go now, but Tim is quitting West Virginia. Debbie O kind of got to this a little early. Yes, have you covered the proposed Ohio law that would ban men from ejaculating without intent to conceive? The fine of $10,000 per occurrence. Well, we just did, but yes, we were getting to that. So yes, that's when I talked about Ohio's about to ban Baitin, like masturbating. Debbie O also gifted 5 subs, doing her part out there, chat, getting rid of this gray menace. We are going to exterminate the grays once and for all if I have my say. And you guys will help me do that. We will march forward and just get out of here, grays. You're done. You're done. D for $5 says, is Aaron still doing Sucky Sucky Sundays where he works those knees? I heard it was $5 a blast. I don't know. You're going to have to ask him about that. I'm not in charge of his booking. So, Squizgar says for $5, they can pry my schlong for my cold dead hands. Oh. Mayu is a member for 3 months. Thank you for being here. Says, can I goon from Louisiana into Mississippi? I'm not sure why you can't. Just be careful. Be careful about when it is you actually do your gooning, how far along you're doing it in. Maybe you could do like straddle the border. Maybe that'll help. I'm not sure. Wrestler Town gifted 5 subs. 5 more, chat. 5 more H1 green visas. Just grays, your days are numbered. We're taking everything from you. There's no choice but to submit. And then Stephen Cooper says, I have no interest in leaving Colorado. But after my trip out east, you could do worse than the Ohio River Valley. Yes, the Ohio River Valley is a beautiful place. And I'm not going to lie, chat, Ohio is God's country, but we're full. We don't want you here. Stay out of Ohio. Nobody wants you here. No one loves you. Stay away. Say what you want about Ohio, but we don't have as many commies as everywhere else. Wrestler Town says, I owe $1,000 to Ohio. SSRIs are brutal. Oof. Well, thank you for that, Wrestler Town, and also thank you again for the 5 subs, chat. 5. Just doing your parts out there. Doing your parts. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And let's see here. Ohio only welcomes Haitians. Yeah, well, remember, they're apparently leaving town, so self-solving problem right now. Michael Gelke says, my ex lives in Ohio, so yeah. Ohio equals North Florida. See, that you're wrong. Florida equals South Ohio. Florida man originated in Ohio. Where do you think he came from? He had to come from somewhere. Came from Ohio. So Texas is the best state, hands down. No. Nope. Not at all. Not even close. All the pets sighed in relief. Yes. Popcorn Power is saying, how is Ohio getting rid of the Haitians? The Haitians are self-removing. They're not showing up to work and they're getting spooked because of what ICE is doing. So, 12 Monkey says, do you have channel memberships? I can't find them. I feel retarded. Yes, we do. We do have channel memberships. If you click down below, you can do it. They should be down there. It's like by the join or subscribe button. They should be right there. But also, I know YouTube, depending on what kind of channel, like if you did it and it get branded or something, there's times where YouTube doesn't allow you to get memberships. But see, the funny thing is, like, I go on, like, I've like sitting in chat on another show or something, and you get a membership. So I don't know why it doesn't work here for some people. So, is there any update in the Fudbusters case? Yes. LaRosier versus Cody Wilson. Chody Wilson. Yes, Cody Wilson is getting retarded. There has been an update in the filing for the injunction, as well as Cody's discovery demands are absolutely retarded. I was talking with Matt about that. I'm going to see if I can set something up with him here coming up, and Runkle of the Bailey. I know Runkle's been covering it. I think it'd be pretty fun to have us all hanging out and talking about Cody and why he's such a scumbag and why he's a piece of shit, and can't wait for him to suffer. So, yes, we'll be working on that soon. So thanks for bringing it up, Nero. Let's see here. What else? Mystery Meat Matt versus Chomo Wilson. Yes. Cody Wilson. Cody Wilson, the kind of the, I know Matt bristles at it when I say it like this, but he is kind of the one of the, probably like the first prominent person in 3D gun printed space, the creator of the Liberator, and also the guy who's been busted for, contacting underage, chicks and trying to meet them and stuff. Just that thing there. Yes. So, oh, Brian's saying click join, then the 3 dots in the corner, and you need to enable gift giving. Yes. That way, if people give out gift memberships, you can get one if that's what you're looking to do. So, let's see here. Let's see. Did I miss something here? Oh, yes. Juju. So Juju 2. Juju 2. I think is how you're trying to say that. For €5. So it could be, it might be en français, maybe Belgian. I don't know. La Belgique. Not sure. I'm assuming it's one of those. It says, look at the bill again. They said embryo, not egg. Embryo's fertilization. You can't fertilize that. And they didn't specify it being human or not. I don't know if they in Mississippi they were worried about bestiality, but maybe they were thinking about Vosh. They don't want Vosh coming down there. But yes, Vosh hit hardest. Now he can't goon to the horses, chat. Now he can't goon to the horses. But very good point. Very, very good point. So thank you for catching that. Yes, for €5, but I can't, yes. Yes. Ursula von der Leyen's euros. It's not like the King sterling. Somebody's commenting over in chat. Okay. So Brian Tracer gifted 5 subs, chat, at Green Top Machine Tool LLC for all your machine and tool needs if you're in this area. For 5 subs himself. Guys, just doing their part. Grays, we are praying the gray away tonight. Chat. It trumps America. It's a gray-free America. America is just a sea of green. Even a field of greens in Trump's America. That's what America is. And that's what America will be and stay. Something to think about. That's just... when you hear about America the Beautiful, it's about the amber waves of grain and the purple mountain majesties. There's nothing about you fucking grays. You're not there. You're not included. You're not part of America. You're not meant to be. But you can be. You could join. You could jump on in and join the team and jump in for the big win. Just can't be gray anymore. It's an option for you. So thank you, Brian, and thanks again, Green Top. Oh. Let's see here. You're still gray for now. Don't worry. Nate saying Tough Later Mouse is a base gun tuber channel for custom shotgun slugs. Yes, Tough Later Mouse is always hilarious to watch. Great stuff on there. Yes, that's also true. There's no gray on the flag. There's no gray on the flag. And Choo2 is saying Mississippi is going to be the capital of edging because failed edging will be illegal. Yes, you can edge. There's going to be the cops are going to be checking. Better be not edging too fast, boy. Don't lose control. You're sitting there, and the cops like, "Don't come, don't better not come." It's like, oh God. Did I see the Last Chance U lawsuit? I saw it, but we'll take a look at that. That'll be an interesting one to do a show on, but I'll take a second to read it later. Yes, do not coom. And Peyton is saying, should we worry once Cash fires those FBI guys? Yes. Drop your boner, sir. We'll tase you. Oh God, some guy's gonna get tased right in the dick. That'd be awful. Oh no, chat. All right. Well, enough of that, chat. So we are going to call it here. We're going to call it a night. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. Thank you again to everybody. We got a lot of people tonight. You guys stuck around. I appreciate it. 500 people over on YouTube here. 336 on Twitter. Hi, Ghost. Hi, Elon. I appreciate it. Once again, thank you for inflating the numbers, making me feel like there's a lot of people here, even though there probably aren't. Thank you, all the Ghost on Twitter. And chat, like I said, we will finish up ASAP Rocky tomorrow. Thanks to everybody over in Rumble. So Prestige, Shade Chaser, how you doing? Cool Frog, hey buddy, it's good to see you. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Fractal Failure, Joe Schmo, and BCM. BCM, not BCM. BCM. Thank you guys all for being here. And then everybody over in locals, guys, thank you. It's always amusing watching you guys talk, and I can't comment on what you're saying because YouTube will get mad at us. But it was fun. So, guys, join us over on locals. We are heading over there right now. Once again, use a promo code WHIPIT, and you can join in the Thursday night show at the after show, because after the show it's the after party. But unlike R. Kelly, we will not end up in the hotel lobby. So use the promo code WHIPIT, chat, if you want to join us. So once again, guys, until next time. Aquila saying we aren't all ghosts. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Remember, till next time, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Does not mean you're guilty. And get your Steve Bannon. Yeah, I guess you're guilty. And then if you want a goon, you're probably you should feel guilty if you're gooning anyway. Gooning's not good, chat. So we don't need a law. We don't need a law against gooning. You should already not be gooning. It's not good. Destiny does it, and it's not good. Look what it did to him. So good night, chat. Take care, everybody. Take care.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?